va yepi Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoto Bula kuivukisha Kana depotimo Wimbo watemenu wakatongi Awazunga wajita katongi Nagula kuivukisha kateka Kaibugu muna kapona Neseko siove pamenso Yangu ama umebaya Iyaba Iyaba ume Iyaba ume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove Ale filamba Fiena minta pengo sile Deti kume moku Londolo la vale Lilo wingi
Iseko wingi mwakwete Iseso wingi mwakwete Mwaya Mwaya Mwende wino tata wesu
Katushi muchi wakege Wali bomba kale Lomba mwatuja tuleli lake Mungana chiba
Penda Upanga mwine Oya mwine Ide lalila Lalila Lalila
Yangu ya mama ume Ala nacho mwabye Mama Ukula bebyo wati dobuingi Ibisebo wapangini obuingi Ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka Mama Utituwa na basiani Chagwa katuse
Lelo bwacha bakamba mukyalo kyesu kya Zambia kyaweka njoy abantu bafo bakamba kule kumumfumbwe more than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri bagamba fish to arufyanye people have died mumino yabakapokola the police killing people why in the same government bagamba abductions have happened. Magamba, if you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change, big man. Fish to Arfianya Pakubika Moves. Fish to Arfianya. Why me? Missing. Achani Rubamwaicho and Dizona. Where is Why me? Agent, tell us with your government, where is Why me? Give us Why me. Justice for why me big man. Wachila mo HH. Wala tupwisha bega kutupwisha bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. Why you think? Maana watata. Sabia tuwasevana. Bagamba. Wanesa tuwa kweni. Mujala chetu. Icha Zambia. Twamona mwempwa bagao Twamona mwempwa corrections program. Ubu buteko toaleta. Watulete lama amazala mush. Ma no you can take. Wala ipompa today. No you can take. Apa nomba bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you taya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Itaya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mayona batata. Ba mayona batata. Ba youth. Tentwisuli amenso. Tentwisuli amenso. Batu sendela nomba batu ipaila na hope Yesu. Endika chagwa lungu watu bela tinani mkwatila plan B. Nomba tu wadishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa. Bantu banga wala fa mcharo chesu cha Zambia. Nibanga abantu abala abducted mcharo chesu cha Zambia. Bambire kuli jeje banda. Nibanga abantu abala ba prison. Abena chitotela chilangwa. Wote baba prison netunguru shina shimbi na shimbi. Muri one government ya kwa ejeji. Abantu na abafa mweleza. Aikata nomba baikata na kuyetika chakwa lungu atukwatile plan B. Apa kubo vya mufulo big band. Mufulo pa mufulo. Vilabine matzendela yetika chakwa lungu. Apa nomba bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Wakufuatika fuatika. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. When you taya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Aikona man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Itaya kwa fwe. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asebana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country where it is today. No man would destroy this country because we believe in unity. One Zambia, one nation, and we shall together we will change, and we are going to change this government. My name is Blaze Zambia.
Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo oserukira ate basi awakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi vimenye nivi ati tundu mwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwe ati tundu mwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende amubaome ku intercity sunu yakaba yamwe yakakuba mulaliendela mbomu yanda intercity kunyina omuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe Zambia, so many things. Although we've done, there are many more things to be done. Tujiyagumbere kuberega, not twaptaligo, not twaganka kuberego. We've just started working now. We've just started. There's a lot more work to be done. Nyambose ulia, Kujasef, he needs more schools, more classrooms, more desks, more teachers. Work to be done. Mungandu ulia, he needs more bohos in Chama South. Kabuswe, he needs more. Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo oserukira ate basi awakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi Vimenyeni. Ati tundumwezi. Singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwe ati tundumwezi. Ati mbaba hota maningi ku hotela akaende. Amuba ome winter city. Sunu yakaba yamwe yakakuba mola liendela mbomu yanda intercity kunyina omuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe. Zambia. So many things. Although we've done, there are many more things to be done. Tujiyagumbere kubereka. Not waptaligo, not waganka kuberegono. We've just started working now. We've just started. There's a lot more work to be done. Nyambose ulia, Kujasef, he needs more schools, more classrooms, more desks, more taugatai. Very simple. Extremely simple. Very simple message. When they shout more, Adeba, Mbuti, Jajitika Buti, Ndabalanga Ndama, Bagankagalo now. Bagankagalo now, Bahibunjak. Toileta Bill 7. Toileta Bill 7. Gutonde halu yando love. Guliba maga into. Ibatali kunjira mu parliament. Toileta Bill 7. Bama MPs aba bayi hotela. Ndagaba nyunya gulibenzu mamba mbali weta maga na abulimbuyi. Anu baganza kuvota against Bill 7. Ndabala ngaga indi meshushushu number 1. Ndasondela ndati wabeya. Kuyuma namba pa. Iba independent banyambosa aba. Iba PF banji. Sebotoba UPND twawete bo mahoti 98. Mahoti agali wendika kuti Bill 7 inde ngu 111. Matelela. Kwa kuti we needed a minimum of, if you like, to be honest, 13 votes. 98 would tuhige 100, 2 more votes agalansengwe. Would tuhige 111 ali 11 ambi agalansengwe. 2 plus 11 nguni 13 batali besu. So ndalanga vamwi.
There is no PF party in the Tonse Alliance any longer. The 7 is not coming from the PF party. It's coming from the ECL political movement. Okay, that is not the PF party. That is led by Mr. Given Lubinda. And clearly, obviously, that party led by Mr. Given Lubinda and its leadership, they are no longer part of the Tonse Alliance. Okay?
Correct.
So, whatever they are doing is not our business. We can't even talk about them. We wish them well. The Tonse Alliance is an alliance of political parties, civil society organizations, prominent individuals, church-related organizations, and the ECL movement, which comprises former ministers, members of parliament, former PF ministers, members of parliament, mayors, council chairmen, councillors, former ambassadors, and general membership of the ECL movement, who were part of the PF. Okay.
Kabiringa Ecclesia wa Zambia tuingile mu mwaka upya neshiwi ili atense shirichano chava katolika ili akuti shikofu mkalamba wa Lusaka Archdiocese ba alikupanda balino kuya kulugulula pakupe baperwe wa motoka uwo babweseshe na kukuteko ili wasangile kuti ya milando bonse twalisa kamana icho muchishinka twalimonamo umuchushisha wa kwa shikofu kukuteko nokuchila icho shikofu na bakateka tabumfuana ngefe chalo cha shiba namuli ukukana kumfuana uwakwatisha kwa maka ya kuchusha umunangwe nikateka bantu bena kwebafye kutundila ati muchiteni ichi tuachita ngefifine chali pali chimo pa 5 January kuchaulanda chakutila uyu muchushisha wa uteko wa kuchusha shikofu ulikuwatie chakulya cha bantu abashifwaya umo abebeko ati fintu tafili bwino ichakuti limbi kuti chafika nakukona ulobumi wa kwa shikofu ichofye kuli bena shikofu alisanguka ushifwayikwa muchalo abene bayipangira wena tefyo tulino kwikala muchalo chesu ubumi wa muntu onse bwalichindama namfye bume tulanga ifilubo fyesu nabo bwine bwalichindama pantu bumi bwa muntu uwachitwa muchata chakwalesa na unse uwalamono kuti ubumi bwa muntu munangu tabwachindama alafwaya nokubupwisha minchi afuma motwinga pendera pabantu abachindani asanguka kaino usha mwenye ukuchindami wa bumi bwa mwacho wakwe abeli amwipayano mwipaya nisubiro lyandine lya chalo ili akuti mukukana mfwana kwa wakateka wesu na shikofu mukalamba wa Musaka tamwakafume ifyama sakanika ya bantu ngefichali pa 5 January ndeyibukisha nelyo minister paba ishile kukumbona pali ichichile chakuti ababa munyine mfueta kumfwana ati tekuti tuleke abantu babiri mukukana mfwana kwabo mufume ukuchusha kwa abantu mu Lusaka chimwene kuti nimuchi mfano fye mwingafuma umutendene chibote cha bantu ukulebele sofu chani chichulilamo.
Good day and welcome to today's broadcast. Today, Friday, we have taken on the battle that I have been reluctant to use. Where is my picture? Thank you very much. Hello, welcome to today's broadcast, and thank you for joining us on this wonderful day and it's Friday, and you know it's going into weekend, but you've decided to be on this platform, so we don't take it for granted. There's been a very strong yearning, very strong yearning that I should discuss the Patriotic Front. I'm a participant, I'm a presidential candidate, and I hold the position of chairperson of information and publicity. And I have been reluctant to discuss this matter because I'll be discussing myself and in some ways disclosing details. I'll be on the fringes where I could be disclosing details that relate to the operations, plans, strategies of the party. And so I have to be very careful that I don't breach that line. But from the perspective of EMV, we discuss anything and everything. And you have to recognize that I hold a position in the Patriotic Front. I'm one of its spokesperson. One is the president, the other one is the secretary general. And as chairperson for information and publicity, I am one of the spokesperson of the party. But I'm not coming in that light. I'm coming to you as an analyst, a geopolitical analyst, looking at the state of our country, the way we review the issues of the country. And my knowledge in the PF, I think, will only help to consolidate a verified position of where we are. I'll be quite candid. And for colleagues in the party, you have to forgive me. We are discussing the PF from that perspective. in many cases for the presidential candidates, I have hosted all of them. And when they come on this platform, I don't assume the position of chairperson for information of the PF. I assume a position of an analyst and host of Emmanuel Mwamba Verified. It's in that light that we are discussing this. There's a fundamental video I've just played of the Archbishop of Kasama, who is the president of the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops. It was in Bemba, it's not translated, but the words there are heavy. Archbishop Ignatius Chama is fearing for the life of Archbishop Alec Banda. He says President Hakainde Hichilema is using the apparatus of the state to harass, humiliate, and attempt to destroy Archbishop Alec Banda. He says, we recognize there's been political differences between the two, but who does it advantage? He says it advantages President Hakainde Hichilema. Because in one breath, President Hakainde Hichilema can call on any of the state institutions to punish the person he perceives as his political enemy. And he called for prayers and he called for solidarity. And he says, we recognize this is not a matter of rule of law. This is a matter of one powerful person, the president, trying to crush a dissenting voice. That's what the Archbishop is saying. He was speaking in Bemba on Lutanda Radio. He has those weekly discussions with the faithfuls in Kasama and the audience in Kasama. So that is a video. But the words are very strong from Archbishop Ignatius Chama of Kasama Archdiocese. There's an international news that is trending of the young man Lamisha Msonda. Is a son to Charles Msonda, the famous footballer in Zambia. You know, we had two pairs of very popular footballers in Zambia, Charles Msonda and Kalusha Bwalia. So the son to Charles Msonda issued a statement, an uncharacteristic statement. Remember, he played for Chelsea and he went into the Congo and played for the DRC. He says he only has a few days left. He's 33 now. His career didn't take off beyond Chelsea. And he played for Anderlecht and the team that Kalusha Wari had played for, historical team. Then he went to Chelsea. Lamisha Msonda says he only has a few days to live. We don't know what's happening to the young man. Our strength and God's prayers go to him and to the family, Charles and his wife. This must be troubling. You probably have seen that international news that has broken about Lamisha Msonda. I played a video by our brother here, Dr. Dan Pule. Let me play it again and start from there.
There is no PF party in the Tonse Alliance any longer. The 7 is not coming from the PF party. It's coming from the ECL political movement. Okay, that is not the PF party. That is led by Mr. Given Lubinda. And clearly, obviously, that party led by Mr. Given Lubinda and its leadership, they are no longer part of the Tonse Alliance. Okay? Correct. So whatever they are doing is not our business. We can't even talk about them. We wish them well. The Tonse Alliance is an alliance of political parties, civil society organizations, prominent individuals, church-related organizations, and the ECL movement, which comprises former ministers, members of parliament, former PF ministers, members of parliament, mayors, council chairmen, councillors, former ambassadors, and general membership of the ECL movement, who were part of the PF.
I'll discuss the remarks by Dr. Daniel Pule. They are not representative of the Patriotic Front or Tonse Alliance. Whatever is happening there is part of what we will discuss. In 2021, the PF lost elections. The elections were quite a disaster for the Patriotic Front. They were determined to win that election. They had a good record. The party had put in some of the historical development we haven't seen in our country for decades. Look at the power infrastructure. They found power electricity at 1,600 megawatts installed capacity, and they ramped it up to 3,600 megawatts. And there were still ongoing projects. Look at the number of schools they built. Not 1 by 3 classroom blocks that UPND is doing with CDF. Brand new standalone schools. I was PS in various provinces, and I was privileged to check on the development of the schools that were being built, the health centers. I can give you an example of Skongo. Skongo is a bush right at the end of Angola. When you leave Kalabo, you leave Mong, you go into Kalabo. You go from Kalabo, you go to Skongo, the border town with Angola. There is a beautiful brand new school that the PF built, a secondary school, boarding school, beautiful boarding facilities, a beautiful town, hall for the school. And I hope that the grounds and the infrastructure is kept. But that's one of the many schools that the PF built across the country. If you look at the colleges, even the transformation of universities, we only had 2 public universities, Copperbelt and University of Zambia. Now you have over 6 public universities. The PF was very instrumental in infrastructure development. We didn't have the period of the MMD, 20 years, was like what Hichilema is doing, talking macroeconomies, macro what, just talking about growth without development, economic growth without any changes to the life of our people. The PF were different. They built international airports, they built roads, they built bridges. So they were very confident that they would win the elections in 2021. It was not to be. I think there were various factors. And Sensio Banda, who's a regular caller to this program, is one of the academics and consultants that was tasked to do a postmortem of the Patriotic Front and to demonstrate what happened and what should be the future changes. When the postmortem report was tendered, it was an honest, candid, one of the best reports I've ever seen. It evaluated the crisis. It evaluated why the PF lost. One of the reasons, for example, was that the PF didn't have a unified secretariat. Although many people blame Davis Mwila, if you look at that report, it says no. Davis Mwila was literally handicapped because his powers were taken over by people at State House like Zumani, who was State House special advisor for politics. Some of the duties were done by the PS, Krista Kalulu. So that report does demonstrate very candid things that went wrong. Yes, the PF was developing. Then it failed to respond to the lies by the UPND. The lies by the UPND that PF was a violent party, that was a corrupt lot, was an arrogant lot, was never attended to. That narrative stuck, and our people, after experiencing some of the worst droughts, 2015, 2017, 2019, and after recognizing that COVID was a big crisis, our people felt they needed change. So for that reason, with the huge concerted local and international propaganda against the PF, they lost elections. International propaganda, remember, there was a persistent campaign against China and PF, and Zambia was being held as an example where loans had resulted in the forfeiture of state-owned enterprises. Even when that narrative was forced, COSESCO, ZMBC, and other infrastructure were never given to China or Kafiwe Lower Gorge, but the international media persistently reported as such. You remember that my dear brother, Trevor Smumba, even did a very strong analysis on the debts accumulated to PF, and he put them in excess of $15 to $20 billion that the PF had gotten loans from China. That was not true, but it was not rebutted. Because in this game, I have seen that people like to use words like silence is golden. No, our people know the truth. No, the people don't know the truth. And silence is not golden. Do not fool yourself. In the game of politics, people make decisions on the basis of perception. The perception doesn't have to be true. They just have to perceive that you failed. They just have to perceive that you have stolen. They just have to perceive that you are corrupt. They just have to perceive that you are violent, despite the facts. So when you keep quiet, the narrative becomes, and that was the PF. They became a victim of first very intense local and international propaganda. They became a victim, of course, there was corruption, of course, there was arrogance. And the postmortem does lay the picture of what had gone wrong. And like I said, for example, party secretariat functions was being done at State House. And I laugh when I see the UPND, and Sensual Banda probably also laughs, when you see a civil servant in Levingoma going about with a bag of money, doing duties of the secretary. What that does, it immobilizes the party. So you think you are being successful when you are not, because you've allowed civil servants to hijack both the functions and work of the secretary. So they just sit back. Do you know why civil servants who are close to the president do that? It's very simple. They want a bag of money. Because if they let the party secretariat do the job, that means they have to hand over the money that they've collected or has been set out for those political activities. So smart guys, thieves like Levi Ngoma, take over. We had the same thing where our State House was doing the functions of Davis Mwila, was doing the functions of his party secretariat. The PF had so many media outlets, so many media, what can I call them? Not outlets, but media groupings. There was a grouping at Secretariat. Davis Mwila was running his own team. State House was running their own team. Then there were parallel provinces were running, and there was a disjointed and disunity of messages across the country. The post-mortem report was also very clear that there were issues that had gone wrong. Number one, the adoption of candidates. For example, how do you adopt a candidate in a base like Munali, a candidate that's not known? That you leave, maybe you leave the very popular candidates in the area. You pick someone who's not known because you want to do them whatever favors you were doing them. The case of Munali was replicated. We had candidates that were popular, which the party needed to make decisions on, such as if, for example, you have Nkana, you have a minister, Alexander Chiteme, very affable, very good guy, loyal to the party, but he's not popular for whatever reason, and Binwe Mpundu is popular. What did the party do? They supported both candidates. They allowed the official candidates to go in, but they supported heavily the independent. Kalulushi, you have a very good candidate, and you also have a very good independent. And you don't make a decision as a party. You let them both run. And then you are supporting them both again to clash heads. That had disastrous effects. It divided the party. Candidates failed, undermined. The case of Doris Leah in Petauke, JJ was quite popular. He was very strong on the ground. You know, the case of our dear brother in Mpulungu, Mr. Skazwe. Instead of making decisions in the interest of the party, like we, you just needed to make those decisions. We didn't. We wanted to please both ends, burning the candle from both ends. So there's a postmortem report that's quite damning. It even, in fact, even highlighted the issue of the running mate, my own mother, Professor Nkandluo, because, her decisions on the University of Zambia and the meal allowance, that message was never understood. Her decision to restructure Unzasu, that decision was never understood. She could have meant well. She's a professor. She's been at multiple universities at high level abroad in Russia, in UK, Sweden, in the US. But whatever she was trying to do was never understood by our people. And they just felt that she was abolishing student union and she was abolishing meal allowance. And that affected the youth vote. What did the postmortem propose? It said the top 6 must immediately resign. The party must engage into a rebranding process and they should go to conference to elect a new leader of the party. So it recommended that the top 6, the president, the vice president was Honorable Inonge Wena, that Secretary General was Davis Mungela, the chairperson was Samuel Mukupang Ngonga, that top 6 must immediately resign and new people elected who should prepare us, who should prepare the party to go to conference. When the report was tendered, I was not there, I was still in Ethiopia. It was an emotional Central Committee meeting because the President Edgar Lungu is such a Democrat. He yielded to the demands of the postmortem report. He said he was going to resign as recommended by the postmortem report. And he urged his colleagues to follow through the top 6 that were encouraged to resign and allow the party to have this renewal and rebirth. The party Central Committee accepted the resignation of everyone except the president. They said, Mr. President, you will allow you to go on leave. We want you to help with the process to get a new leader, and we want you to come and, come and hand over your leadership to whoever we are going to elect. And the process started in earnest. Work in Parliament, Brian Mundville was appointed as leader of the opposition in Parliament. Stephen Kampyongo, Shwangandu MP, was appointed, and former Minister of Home Affairs, was appointed as chief whip, of the opposition, and his deputy, I think was it Cassandra? You can correct me in the comments. And Parliament began to work to unify members of the opposition. We had 60 MPs. And for the party, Vice President Given Lubinda was, member of the Central Committee, Given Lubinda, was appointed as Vice President of the party and then to act as President of the party. The work began. Given Lubinda as Vice President of the party, acting as President, began the process to hold a conference, a general conference, and to ensure that we elected a new leader. Brian Mundville unified his colleagues in Parliament. You would see those briefings that they would hold every Friday. And the work of the opposition began. But immediately we saw cracks. Because just on the loss of the day we lost election, you saw that minister from Southern Province, the former musician, what's his name? I'll remember his name. Immediately resign and renounce the PF and apologize because he used to mock, and he stood in Mazabuka, he used to mock Gary Nkombo that was going to crush Gary Nkombo. But he was the first one to denounce the PF. And then we began to see that sense of opportunism where it became fashionable to insult, denigrate their own party. In fact, most of the biggest beneficiaries were the ones now either leaving the party or insulting the party or distancing themselves from the party. Hichilema began his Mingalato right away. He knew that if he had a chance in 2026, he needed to destroy the Patriotic Front. So the work started in earnest. If there's any victimization I've seen is from members of the Patriotic Front. There were searches in homes that you are not aware of. There were many of our members that left home because they were being beaten, they were being attacked, they were being humiliated. The youth leaders, our cadres, especially that there was this demonization that the cadres were violent and the cadres caused the loss for the PF. The UPND cadres in townships really went for our people. Some remain missing to date. They are youth leaders, we don't know where they are up to now. There are youth leaders like, for example, Tolo from the Copper Belt, who's been locked up and no one knows, no charge. I remember when I was arrested the first time and this is now 2 years later in 2023, when I was locked up at Emmanuel Police Station. I found 6 boys that had been at Emmanuel Police Station for 7 months. They have never been taken to the police. They have to the courts. They've never been made to appear before court. And their offense was slapped that they had committed armed robbery. But the story is that they were just Mandevu youths for the PF. They were very active in Mandevu. So there are all those things that were happening underground. And when the PF, given Lubinda and his team, cried foul, spoke to the country, I think there was just that team, but PF balekeni, now wali changele, let them be punished. The ears were closed. People thought just Lubinda and others are just crying foul. They are just crying. That was the perception. But Hichilema began to systematically attempt to dismantle the PF then. So he humiliated, he sent police officers who were everywhere raiding people's farms, raiding people's homes, having them arrested. There are many people that were raided and they didn't want it to be in the media because they feared that the victimization would go ahead. There are many people that were searched, and sometimes we wrote the stories and they were quick to call. Their families or their wives were quick to call, drop that story, please, because my husband, he doesn't want any of this politics. So there was that sense of oppression that Hichilema was conducting. But the famous ones, seats were targeted. Malanji was one of them. For whatever reason, whether it was a helicopter or whatever it was, he was targeted. And we lost first Mwense. Mwense was a sad one because Humphrey Kapapula, a mayor, beloved mayor, he was a councillor in Lusaka. He decided in 2021 to go and contest in Mwense, and he won the position of council chairperson. He was brutally taken, beaten, killed, and dropped at a lodge nearby. People have never arrested the suspects or anyone. No one has appeared, and before long, there was a quick by-election, and that was the first seat we lost in Luapula. They went to Kawambwa, attacked both Nixon Chilangwa and the council chairperson, and we lost those 2 seats. They went to Pambashe, and they went to Kwacha, Kabushi. For Bowman Lusambo, you can fear for him because Bowman Lusambo and Malanji were on the lips of the president every time. And we knew where it would end with Bowman Lusambo, because the president kept on referring to him as a cadre who can't have the wealth that he had. There was no audit anywhere. Lusambo served in Lusaka and Copperbelt. There is no money was stolen anywhere in the offices that Lusambo worked. The president just said, he can't have the wealth he has. Where has he gotten it from? No single audit was done. No money was stolen anywhere where Lusambo worked. And you can't go and steal in another ministry. It's just not possible. So Lusambo was targeted, his wealth confiscated, is locked up. You have the young people in parliament that were brazen, that really wanted to bring vibrance to that team. Jean Senga, Christopher Kangombe, Binwa Mpundu, our dear brother Emmanuel J. Banda, Munir Zulu. They were a good bunch trying to roll back the oppression that Nelly Muti was enforcing. She wanted silence. She wanted to rummage her way through parliament. And they were targeted. They were, victims of numerous suspensions. They were victims of constant attacks. And among them, we have JJ who nearly lost his life because he was abducted by state officials that he named. He says, I know them. I know Ukleso Namasaka is among the people that abducted me. I know Levi Ngoma. He's from Sinda. He's been an MP from 1996, or is it 2006? He's one of the youngest MPs to ever grace at parliament, that Levi Ngoma. He was a third-year student at CBU and went to contest in Sinda. So JJ Banda says, I've known him. He's been one of our longest MPs. But he abducted, he's with those people that abducted me. Kleso Namasaka, Levison Ngoma, and Trevor Mwinde, who's a UPND National Youth Chairperson. Instead of subjecting these abductors to investigations, President Hakainde Hichilema instead proceeded to shield them and even give them more work, affirmed more work in Levi Ngoma, Kleso Namasaka, and Trevor Mwinde, demonstrating that Levi Ngoma, Kleso Namasaka, and Trevor Mwinde were working on the instructions of the president. That's what it simply means. Because if you are accused of a dastard crime like kidnapping, abduction, sodomy, State House must distance itself very far until law enforcement agents or the courts clear you. But instead, the president, balisa bafukatila, babaleta na mpepi. So he was extremely systematic. He set up a court called the Economic and Financial Crimes for the PF. In fact, if you remember, what he did in 2001 was to sweep off the entire magistrates. There are about 20 of them from Lusaka Magistrate Complex. All of them were removed. They were accused of being PF just because they had Bemba or Eastern Province names. They were accused of being PF, and he brought in again those that have regional names from where he gets support from. Just look at all of them, all the magistrates. And he proceeded for superior courts. He has appointed up to, I think on my count, is 57 judges that the president has appointed. 57 judges. And of course, he made some promotions and some retirement at High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and Constitutional Court. But he has appointed 57 new judges. He was crafting it. Another matter that the president did was to craft that statutory instrument. Is it 1157 or 1153? In the comments, you can correct me. Which grouped all law enforcement agencies and all key institutions such as the ECZ to change their reporting structure to the president. That particular issue. The SEC is supposed to be independent. It has an independent board. It has a director general ratified from parliament. Whatever its structure, that statutory instrument changed that it should be reporting to the president, meaning it ignores the structure that exists. So SEC is not a wing that can investigate corruption at all in the PF. It can investigate old corruption because it reports to the president. And in many cases, the president is busy. So it's those aides that have become powerful, the aides that intervene when the president is unavailable, and they receive these reports, these sensitive reports of people that need to be prosecuted, investigated, or arrested, and they they use that information as a weapon to silence people, to paralyze the Ichilema's own system, because they have this information of who has stolen. SEC was a bit brave, not the current SEC, the previous SEC was a bit brave. It announced that it was investigating 5 cabinet ministers and 2 permanent secretaries. The president has never acted. He's never removed any of them. So the PF is operating in that environment. He started by getting some MPs. We saw some MPs singing songs for the UPND. Others, when I confronted them, I can tell you I confronted some, and one even said, but you know my position. You know how strong I was against President Hichilema. If I don't do this, I will literally lose my life. I have to sing praises, sorry colleagues, but I'm saving myself and my family, because I used to be strong when Hichilema was in opposition. So they had excuses anyway, but the first thing they began to do was to undermine the PF. If you remember, some of the first people we encouraged disciplinary action and announced were the MPs like Anton Mumba from Kantanshi, Sande Chandra from Kanchibia. This Chabinga, Robert Chabinga, we even proceeded to expel him because he was one of those MPs that was quick to attempt to destroy the PF, and he was very zealous. Of course, the zealousness, you have seen it. And even when we expelled him, he didn't bother because he knew that he was working with Hichilema and Nelly Muti, and there was nothing that could be done to him. Today, he calls himself as president of the Patriotic Front. The conference, why didn't it take place? So we began in earnest. There was issues of finance. The Constitution calls for about a minimum of about 3,500 to about 5,000 delegates. We're looking for a huge conference center. The party was no longer in office. You needed to go to Mulungushi International Conference or to Mulungushi Rock of Authority in Kabwe or University of Zambia. You needed a large facility. Then the bill itself, when the group that was tasked to undertake the work of the conference came, they gave us a bill of 6.5 million kwacha that was required to host a successful conference. So the party was no longer in power. The businessmen had run for their lives. Most of them had gone to Hichilema because they needed to save their skin. Our politics are very, very bad, very confrontational. They destroy. So no businessman can stand with the opposition. The PF was naive. It would peg road contractors who would tithe to UPND. Even when they knew it, they never pursued those so-called UPND businessmen. They let them do the business. There were businessmen who were clearly UPND in fertilizer, in fuel, in road contracts. And President Edgar Lungu, every time these reports were brought to his attention, Mr. President, you are giving these lucrative positions, lucrative contracts to UPND members who use the profit to strengthen the UPND. President Lungu was very categorical. Who are they? Aren't they Zambians? Aren't they allowed to do business? If they have profit, some will take it to girlfriends, others will buy cars for girlfriends, others will donate it to political parties. So his disposition was very clear. Don't victimize anyone. Even if they have a huge lucrative contract to supply fertilizer and they support UPND, leave it to them. Hichilema is totally different. He has ensured that any businessman who's associated with the PF does not get any business at all. This he intended to starve off both the PF and the opposition. He ensured that there was no fresh business for them, and if they were owed millions for the work that they were done, that they should not be paid. In many cases, he actually criminalized most of those contractors and most of those contracts and payments that were due. He either froze the ones that were in the banks, and froze the certificates or payments that were due. This was to punish the PF. So the PF struggled. They were supposed to have the first general conference in June 2022. It didn't take place. It was sent to December 2022 for various reasons. Davis Chama came and reported. Now there was even now an issue of the constitution because the PF has a very old constitution from 2000. It was based, Mr. Sata fashioned that constitution on UNIP. If you see the UNIP constitution and the PF, issues of central committee structure, national conference, all those things are literally a UNIP constitution. There were attempts by Winter Kabimba and then Brian Munduwile later to reform the constitution, but those drafts have never been approved. We have them, the recommendation to modernize the PF constitution, but they've never been implemented. So the leadership of Given Lubinda thought that we should then have a constitutional conference to precede the general conference so that we resolve the issues that are inherent and makes the party weak, and we modernize that party constitution from UNIP. So now we're dealing with two conferences, planning two conferences, and also that caused some delay. In June 2023, the anger was up. Remember, we had opened now the lines, and we had people that paid as presidential candidates. I think there were 8 of us that had paid 9. So there was Chimbakambwili, Brian Munduwile, Grayford Monde, Chitalo Chilufya. Did Chitalo Chilufya participate the first time? Chitalo Chilufya, GBM, Mutotwe Kafwaya. I have to remember the others. Let's see, I must have a picture of our presidential candidate. I can tell the original ones from here. Yeah, okay. So Mutotwe Kafwaya is new on this panel, and Makebi Zulu is new, and Given Lubinda is new, and Mudolo is new. So these 4 are new. But the others, Mal Sampa, Brian Munduwile, Chimbakambwili, Mutotwe Kafwaya, Grayford Monde, myself, GBM, Goodward Mulubwa, were the people that had paid presidential fees of 200,000 kwacha. So we later joined when the process was opened in November by acting president Given Lubinda, and Makebi Zulu joined, and Augustine Chandakatoto were joined, and Joseph Wheeler Mdolo joined. So those made up the presidential candidates. So the initial conference that was supposed to take place in June, we gave ourselves deadline. And now that time in June 2023, there was a Lebwele Lapo campaign that had been launched. And now there was a cry because wherever people went, President Edgar Lungu had been visiting churches, had been jogging, and he was attracting huge following. And there was just this feeling in the country, like the country had made a mistake because they had elected Hakainde Hichilema, who was failing on all flanks. The price of meal, the price of electricity, the price of sugar, the price of fuel, the exchange rate, everything was haywire. And Hichilema showed an ugly side people were not aware of. The human rights and just inhuman treatment of his political opponents. He had attacked the PF. He was keen and determined to destroy the PF, and people could see through them. He was engineering these needless by-elections at council level. He was buying our ward councillors and giving them petty jobs in government, or threatening them. And there were these numerous by-elections. I remember in 2022 and 2023 alone, the by-elections numbered over 40. So he was engaged in all this, and there was just anger by our people that Hichilema deviated. Instead of attending to the economy, he was preoccupied with trying to destroy Edgar Lungu and the PF. So that conference was now the issue of Edgar Lungu. I remember a group of us from Central Committee when people demanded that we are going to have this conference. I remember Davis Mwila was very strong in that meeting. Whether we have money or not, we are going to have this conference because you people are using excuses. And is the president coming back? You know, so as Central Committee, we decided that we should, in case our emissaries in Davis Chama, in Nakachinda, in Given Luvinda, were not delivering the message, we demanded that we should go and face the president and ask him if he was coming back. And if he was coming back, most of us, you know, put it very clear, if the president wished to come back, there was no need for us to stake our names there. He would probably be a far better candidate. He was a president. He had been president for 7 years, and you know he had a good legacy on behalf of the PF. And we felt that if we had an honest answer, the president, you know, if he told us that he was standing, he was coming back, we can stand aside for him. So we went to see the president and we challenged him on this matter. But he gave us a pep talk. He didn't say he was coming back. He didn't say he wasn't coming back. He said, but I've heard the calls, I've heard the cries across the country, but it is up to you people to make the decision. It's not up to me to make a decision. And then we went back and proceeded to plan for the conference. I think we called it for end of October as a last day, that there were going to be no excuse that October of 2023 we're going to have a conference. And changes were made because I think Honorable Nixon Chilangwa was away for 3 months, and then they came and locked him up for contempt before the actual jailing that took place. So for whatever reason, the leadership chosen made decisions and appointed Raphael Nakachinda as Secretary General because the Secretary General had been unavailable, and Nakachinda then was appointed, he was Chair of Information and Publicity. He was then elevated as Secretary General. My dear brother Mal Sampa used that opportunity to protest against that decision. Remember, in August 2023, he came to the Secretariat, lit a bonfire, and locked up. He said the decisions that have been made are illegal. This party has no leadership because, as far as he was concerned, President Edgar Lungu had resigned. So why he was, you followed the reasons. And the following month in October, he staged that coup d'etat where he held that conference that we've always said was a state house and state-supported process, and took over the party. Since 2023, we have been in court trying to get the party back. It has been a long battle since 2023 to try to get the party back. Things have just but gotten worse. For one reason or another, our dear brother Mal Sampa came back to his loyalties to the PF. He said, I'm willing to resolve this crisis. He went and met the late president. There were many key personnel that were brokering that issue, because remember, he had expelled 8 of our MPs. There was a threat of by-elections. So the matters were very ugly, and there was just this paralysis that had gripped the party, and therefore we couldn't even hold another conference because there were all these injunctions and against me, against Honorable Given Luvinda, against Nakachinda. But Mal Sampa came back in 2025 and reconciled with the late president and said, I'm handing back the power to you. And we did an agreement that then what is called a consent agreement. Miles Sampa's lawyers and our lawyers decided to do a consent agreement, and we filed it in court. As soon as President Hakainde Hichilema saw the pictures of Miles Sampa and Edgar Lungu, he went to work. We saw the rebellion emerge from Chavinga. We saw Chavinga claim that he was acting president and even have some form of central committee of his own. Now we are the second rebellion from Miles Sampa, because now we're dealing with Robert Chavinga and Ingona. We went to court. Miles Sampa demonstrated, in the court process that he was the legal PF president, but the Robert Chavinga and our colleagues at Ministry of Home Affairs, led by Jack Mwimbu, and especially PS Dixon Mutembo, is mentioned here very regularly because he was very instrumental in harassing the former registrar of society, Madam Tandiwe Muhende. He harassed her, threatened her with arrest, and had her fired, removed from there, that Dixon Mutembo. And he proceeded, he was also very instrumental in ensuring that he strengthened Chavinga and Ngona. So that is where we are with the party, where we have struggled to get it back to ourselves. Many people have said, ignore this. Hichilema will not let go. Hichilema is like a dog on a bone. Ngamwapela imbwa. When you give it, I'm a bonzo. The dog never, you can beat the dog, but the dog will not let go of the bones. So they stated that Hichilema is like a dog on a bone. He will not let go of the PF. He has invested so much to destroy it, steal your seats. Do you think he is going to give you the PF? Hence the new words that began to emerge. Special purpose vehicle. Maybe we need to form a new political party. In fact, at Registrar of Society, it has been under the clutches of PS Dixon Matambo. Is it Dixon Matambo or Dixon Mutembo? I don't like pronouncing our people wrongly, because even me, when someone says Mwaba instead of Mwamba, Ndakaripa. So let me get the correct name of Dixon. Is it Dixon? Because there is Elisha Matambo, then there's Dixon PS, Dixon Matambo. Is it Dixon Matambo? You can tell me in the comment, but I'm trying to Google quickly. Or is it Matembo? Let's see what Google says. So it's Dixon Matembo. Yeah. He's a civil servant. I know him for a long time because he used to work at Ministry of Agriculture as a policy analyst, but his conduct at the Ministry of Home Affairs has been very, very dangerous in relation to destroying our democracy. Given Luvinda from 2021, when we came under attack, I think he has sung one song. The attack on the PF is the attack on democracy. The attack on the PF is the attack on democracy. And many people didn't see it. Remember, the PF is the largest political party in our country. Not even the UPND. The UPND is the second largest political party. Even in its loss, the PF still has party structures from Lundazi to Zambezi, from Siavonga to Solwezi, from Sikongo to Chama, from Nakonde to Lusaka. The PF, even now you can call. Even when we are planning for a conference, the structures remain largely intact. 4 or 5 years later. This has never happened. UPN, UNIP lost its structures, but of course it remained with some loyalties. MMD, similarly, it was just decimated. The PF has been very lucky that to date you can go deep in the bush. You find still people wearing Edgar Lungu's T-shirt. The PF will be instrumental in delivering the change that will happen in 2026. In whatever form, the remnants of the PF will deliver the change. Whoever will emerge as strong presidential candidate in the PF or in the opposition We will need the structures of the PF to win the elections, because that forms a base, especially that we don't have time. So Hichilema has been very, very determined to ensure that the PF doesn't appear on the ballot. He's like a dog on the bone. So the PF is under constant attack. It is highly infiltrated, that I can confirm with you. You can't hold a meeting in the PF and it's not in newspapers tomorrow, or it's not with State House. It's highly infiltrated from the top. You know, the investment President Hichilema has done to attempt to destroy the PF is constant. He has used legal means, financial means, threats. He has used the law. He has used everything at his disposal in full attack. Is the PF also to blame? Yes. Some of the wrangles are totally not necessary. You have encampments, no the Lubinda camp, the Munduwile camp, no Makebi Zulu camp, or Emmanuel Mwamba camp. We contribute to the weakness of the party by our own internal differences. You know, the remarks that were attributed to Honorable Kambwili against Munduwile, totally unnecessary and highly regrettable. So, although we are under attack, tulelo na Kachavinga okuba tumine akaka Kachavinga, even ourselves, we are not helping matters. We are either selling out or attempting to destroy one another. Can the PF be salvaged? Yes, it can. Why? Because the party structures remain intact. What needs to be done? Elect a leader, a legitimate leader, a leader that will be accepted by members across the country through a credible process. I personally have proposed that we should have a general conference, and we can hold it whatever our legal and financial encumbrances we have. The PF, I'm glad now it has transitioned. The last 3-4 months is holding virtual meetings, virtual central committee meetings, virtual NEC meetings. That is very good, because then it's possible. A general conference is just another meeting. So if the PF does hold NEC meetings, if the PF does hold MCC meetings, if the PF does do tours and meet our people and hold provincial and district meetings, why can't the PF have a general conference? Tell me why. Why can't you? Because that's just one of the other meetings. How can the other meetings be legal when it comes to the general conference? You are saying there is a court process. Doesn't the court process apply to the other meetings we are holding? Currently, our acting president can appoint and disappoint anyone. He can remove and include anyone. And they are recognized by both stakeholders and the country. So why can't we have the general conference? What's the excuse? Because for me, Nakachinda, and even Honorable Given Lubinda, we have had injunctions not to speak about the PF, not to make decisions about the PF, not to hold meetings. But from 2023, we've been holding in defiance. Like President Lungu directed, he says, let the legal matters be done by the lawyers. You, as political leaders, don't preoccupy yourself with the legality. It should not be you, a politician, citing the legality of the matter. That's why you have the lawyers. If you are in contempt, they'll go and fight for you. So the PF must go to conference and hold its meetings. Will Hichilema allow? No, he won't. What can be done? It can be virtual. Even today, tomorrow, if we decide that let's have a general conference, we can sit for 5 hours. We'll come up with a leader. If there's a delegates list approved, you can just call Western Province. Let's start district by district. Skongo, we know who they are. Who are the delegates? What are your votes? Kalabo, who are you? Who's in Kalabo? We know who they are. Mongu, give us your vote. Sioma, give us your... Shangombo, give us your vote. Sesheke. We can hold a general conference without anyone moving from their homes or their places of it. It's not necessary to hold a general meeting because Hichilema will not allow it. We are working as a PF we can have the General Conference. Recently, you heard my dear brother, who's the current Deputy Secretary General, Mal Sampa, announce that there's a conclave going on. You know, conclave is a process in which the Pope is elected, and then there's a white smoke to show that a Pope has been elected. On that matter, what is happening is that there's persuasions from everyone and everywhere. Guys, you are 13 of you. Can you come together and give us a leader? Can you come together and give us a leader? So, let me just see, am I live? Is there anything I need to check? Someone is calling me. Just a minute. Oh, I think I'm still live, isn't it? I'm still live. I was just worried that maybe I wasn't live. Okay. So you've been crying that we need to, we need to open, we need to discuss the PF. So I've discussed the PF in this fashion. I have left out a lot of confidential matters, but I've given you a framework that would be suitable for you to understand. The PF formed, President Lungu was very instrumental in bringing the opposition together. You remember that by 2022, he was calling everyone to a press conference. If you remember our first press conference we had everyone from Winter Kavimba, Fred Membe. There were over 14 political parties that held that initial press conference. It was on the persuasion of President Lungu from the background. We never work together. The formation of United Kwacha Alliance, it was President Lungu. He was keen on ensuring that the opposition worked together. And the eventual formation of Tonse Alliance were now lessons learned from UKA, because PF said we have 60 members of parliament. We have councils and mayors across the country. Then we have thousands of councillors. You can't treat us the same. So any alliance that will go in will anchor the alliance. So the events of the last few days must be disregarded until you hear from Given Lubinda, who's the current chair. You can't oust him in the manner that Dan Pule and Chris Zumani are trying to do. It just raises a lot of questions about their loyalty, about who is using them. If you love the opposition, if you love the PF and you claim you're a member of the PF, you can't do what is being done in Tonse. That's just another set of rebellion we've seen from Chavinga and others, and it should just be disregarded. And I hope that Honorable Given Lubinda must be working very hard to right those concerns. I know the particular issues that have brought the fissures and the cracks. It has to do with a Socialist Party. Socialist Party didn't participate in Chawama and asked the PF to support it in Kasama. But the PF is in Tonse Alliance. It just can't make its own decision. So the PF said, look, we had made undertakings in Chawama for Socialist Party that they will not, they had thrown the same weight to Citizen First. But Citizen First proceeded to participate. But Socialist Party decided not to participate. Of course, there has been, what can I say? Is it bad blood? There's been bad blood between the PF and Socialist Party. Remember, at one time, the Socialist Party were being accused of cannibalizing the PF because most of the members were drifting to the Socialist Party. And we've never seen this scenario in Zambia. People resign from their party to go to the ruling party and vice versa. It was the first time that we've seen members refuse to resign and go to the ruling party, UPND. They would rather go to Citizen First or Socialist Party. So there was that issue. So when the matter was taken to Tonse, that we proposed that the Socialist Party should be allowed to participate in Kasama, there was a lot of anger because Socialist Party is not a member of the Tonse Alliance. And legitimately so, people in Tonse expressed anger and emotion, and you have to accept that. And there was an encouragement that Socialist Party must join Tonse Alliance. But you also must recognize that Tonse and the opposition have lost the glue, who is Edgar Lungu, who was holding all of us together and who had such convening power than any other. Because if Edgar Lungu wanted to meet anyone from the opposition, they would drop what they're doing and come over. Do we have another person or entity in the opposition who has similar convening power like the powers that Edgar Lungu had? You know. So my plea as I end is that the PF has a duty to work together. Even if it's fragmented, even if there are divisions, the PF remains the largest political party. And you are lucky. You know, the recruitment process to the ideology. People love the party. They don't care who's on top. They remain loyal to the party. And we are privileged that our members remain intact. But for how long? We are in an election year. You have people throwing money around, and our people want to make decisions, especially those that want to stand as MPs, councillors, mayors, or president. They want a home. Where is the home? So it's incumbent upon the PF to help with that matter. Nalanda sana mwantu wakwalesa tumeni amafoni mulande po bali kweta ama question tumwanji pusha lelo. I'm the expert on this matter. I can answer. If you have contributions, come together. On the conclave, it's not constitutional, but it's an amicable way to narrow down of how we can get a candidate. And if today all of us, the candidates, say, I think Winga Sunge Chalo, someone who can beat Hichilema, someone who can galvanize the country, someone who has capacity to mobilize his colleagues, is this one. There'll be no need to go to conference. Even if we are going to conference, it will just be to ratify the decision of conclave. Because the biggest stakeholders in this is ourselves, you know. But the issue of conclave is a consensus issue. It's not a constitutional issue. It's just to be realistic. Remember that we only have a few months. You have the presidential candidate has to file in his nominations end of May. So if end of May today is January, you still don't have a candidate, you still don't have a conference, how will you participate? It's just a way. So a lot of people were asking me about what my brother Mao Sampas posted about the conclave. The conclave is just a meeting, persuasions amongst ourselves as presidential candidates. Bane tuli 13 busheted tumfwane tuwasala pona nguvatatu ibo tuingatwala ku Central Committee and Conference for Election. Remember, a PF president can only be a product of the General Conference. But all these processes must be encouraged. So I've seen rebellion on social media. If you keseko, kuriyo ino conclave, if a candidate was wali mupata, if you wane a presidential candidate for the PF can only come from General Conference. But if presidential candidates can sit down and resolve that issue, it's a matter that we should welcome, not fight. The lines are open.
Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo woserukira ate basi awakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi vimenye nivi ati tundu mwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwe ati tundu mwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende amuba ome ku intercity sunu yakabaya mwe yakakuba mulaliendera mbomu yanda intercity kunyina umuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe Zambia, so many things although we've done, There are many more things to be done. Tujiyagumbere kuberega. Not waptarigo, not waganka kuberegono. We've just started working now. We've just started. There's a lot more work to be done. Nyambose ulia, Kujasef, he needs more schools, more classrooms, more desks, more teachers. Work to be done. Mungandulia, he needs more bohos in Chama South. Kabusweoyu, he needs more. Bagwetedwa nuguti bagandijenge mugati muya ndambo mwaje yabalombwana. Very simple, extremely simple, very simple message. When they shout more, adeba mbuti chajitika buti ndabalanga ndama bagankagalo bahibunjaga. Toileta bill 7 toileta bill 7 gutonde halu ya ndolavu guliba maga into batali kunjira mu parliament. Toileta bill 7 bama MPs aba bayihotera ndagabanyunya buli benzuma mbamwe bali wetamaga na buli mbui anu baganza kuvota against bill 7 ndabalanga gaindi meshushushu number 1 ndasondela ndati wabeya kuyuma namba pa iba independent banyambosa aba iba PF banji sebotoba UPND twawete boma vote 98 ma vote agali wendika kuti bill 7 inde ngu 111 mwaterera kwa kuti we needed a minimum of, if you like, to be honest, 13 votes. 98 kuti tuhige 100, 2 more votes akalansengwe. Kuti tuhige 111 ali 11 ambi akalansengwe. 2 plus 11 nguni 13 batali beso. So ndalanga bamwe bagwetedwa anu kuti bagandijenge mugati muya ndambo mwaje yabalombwana.
You cannot go on TV, you cannot go and lie to where you can get help to say we have got massive development in this manner. Is this what we call massive development in Solwezi? So what is there is deceiveness in our own leadership. So you cannot go on TV, you cannot go and lie to where you can get help to say we have got massive development in this manner. Is this what we call massive development in Solwezi? So what is there is deceiveness in our own leadership. So
okay, we are opening phone lines. I'm sorry the phone was off. I didn't realize it. I don't use this phone, so I had left it and it had gone flat. But it's now on. You can call. Many people are asking about that there was a Kabwe matter that was due today. Yes, our lawyers went there and they found that the courts are not open. The courts are only open on the 10th. I think the courts are only opening on Monday. So we will see. There was a ruling that should have taken place. Remember, Chabinga had taken an injunction in Kabwe to restrain the PF from holding its conference. And what happened today is that there was supposed to be a ruling by the judge, but the courts were not open. The courts are only open on Monday. So a new date will be gotten. Thank you for all those that were calling earlier. The phone was off. Now it is on. You can call and let's hear from you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Endita Chungropo Mkwai.
I'm calling you from Kitwe.
Mkwai Bakapandula.
Mwamba, I wish to thank you so much for how you've explained the state of the Patriotic Front from the time that it came out of
network.
Got yourselves to blame for where you are right now. So I will speak as a patriotic Zambian, not to suggest that I'm Patriotic Front, but just as someone who knows that a country needs to have a formidable or credible opposition political party available to provide checks and balances. And when PF lost power in 2021, our expectation was that it was going to be the political party standing to provide those checks and balances to the UPND. And for the fact that they had actually been in power for more than 5 years, our expectation was that they were going to take up that very, very well. But sadly, from the time that you lost power, all we have seen is infighting every other day. The other issue I have, Mwamba, is so when PF lost power, and then consequently the late former president decided to resign, whatever the term may be. It then necessitated that the party was supposed to elect a leader. And for me, when he came back, when you talked to him or when you convinced him to come back, that was a good thing, because then we had assurance that the PF was going to be intact, because the infighting we had seen with regards to who was going to be at the helm was going to be a thing of the past. If you look at the number of you that aspire to take the top job in the PF, we appreciate the fact that it shows that the party to some extent is democratic. But the problem I have, which you and I will agree, is that should this elective conference take off and a leader amongst the 8, 10, whatever the number is elected, what we have seen prior to that elective conference is just going to be worse, because now the different camps that are already existing will fight or will not accept whoever it is that is going to be elected. So for me, that is already a sign that while you agreeing that, okay, whoever wants to be president, you are free, that is democratic, that's a good thing, but the end result, trust me, is going to be a disaster. The only opposition that we have in Zambia, in as far as I am concerned, is the PF. But look at where the PF is. These other parties, the Citizens First, Members Party, they are neither here nor there, to be honest with you. And also, I don't even see why the PF decided to get into an alliance. The PF, when the PF lost power, they were able to stand on their own and work through the 5 years till 2026 for the time of the election. The idea of getting other political parties getting into alliances is just a recipe for disaster, because every person wants to
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Let me just put context. Thank you for your views. He has put it very clearly. But before I take your views, there's a development while I was on air. Brian Munduvile has issued a statement that he has learned with regret that he's pulling out of the conclave. Well, for me, the conclave is not an issue. I stated the conclave is not constitutional. The PF president is only picked by a general conference. We must be clear. And the conclave was not meant to pick a candidate. If we could pick a candidate, it required still more the ratification of Central Committee and the general conference. There's another key reason Brian Munduvile has put in his statement, which I was just reading. He says there are currently maneuvers, I don't know who's sitting, he says there are currently maneuvers to have him disciplined or expelled from the PF. I think it's an issue of his press conference where he announced a campaign teams where he appointed people across the province and encouraged them to form up to teams of up to 72 teams from wards, constituency and districts to be his campaign manager. Some people in the party have taken that to seriously think that he's forming a political party or is preparing people to go to another political party. If there are any matters of discipline, probably that's what they're looking at. I was privileged to sit in a meeting yesterday where I put it very clearly. But how you design your campaign as presidential candidate, it's up to you, because we haven't set up rules of how it should be done. Others decide to make a poster. Others decide to go on radio. Munduvile decided to set up campaign teams across the country. That's a campaign strategy. Is it illegal under the PF? In my view, it is not, and I aired my views to that effect. But I hope that people will act with restraint. This is not a time to fire, discipline, expel one another. I've always called for unity. I've always called for forgiveness. We should learn from President Edgar Lungu himself. He embraced people that annoyed him, that insulted him. He embraced people that in no uncertain terms you would think that will allow them, because that's what politics is all about. Let us not be like the UPND. The UPND up to now refuses, the people that defect become outsiders all the time. And the UPND has not grown as a party. They just don't know the politics. I remember one time, Sylvia Masebo, who was a mayor and deputy mayor under the MMD. She later became a minister under MMD. Under PF, she was chairperson of elections. Who knows elections? Went and reprimanded at one of the meetings, the UPND, that until you begin to accept new members, the party will not grow. The PF at its moment here is extremely weak. We don't have a legal status. We are fractured by internal divisions, and you want to discipline either. That is why even Tonse removing Given Lubinda have said that's a lot of political mischief, and short-sightedness is an attack on the opposition. You want to remove Given Lubinda now from Tonse. Come on. Do you love the party or you are bought? So similar, if anyone is moving, I'll put my thoughts very clear here. I don't know the details. I've just seen Brian Munduwile's statement. But if anyone is moving to have him removed or expelled, it will be totally unfortunate. We can't afford Tonse to remove Given Lubinda. We can't afford PF to remove Brian Munduwile. At this stage, let everyone participate. Let the party elect a presidential candidate. Let the party then be steered ahead. So that was the update I thought I could give you. Today we are discussing the PF. So takuri kushinshikila. So Brian has issued a public statement, and I'm discussing this matter publicly because he has issued a statement where he says he will not participate in the conclave, and that he has heard that there are maneuvers to have him either disciplined or expelled. Come on. And you know he's my spiritual father, but I'm very strong on him. I said, you can't expel Given Lubinda. Similarly, I'm speaking very strongly to my colleagues. You can't expel Brian Mundubile. Nishtule yona wila fye fuebene. And we have ichilema to fight. We want to wakwalesa. We have ichilema to fight. Mwana kama Israel na wakota chi Goliath is insulting God in the townships, and you want to fight amongst yourselves. You have to fight the Goliath. The Goliath we have is Hichilema at the moment. And I wish that we could have meetings every day on how to remove Hichilema. But no, we have meetings of how to remove one another. Always we have meetings of how to discipline one another. We have no strategy of how to remove Hichilema. Let me, Wakola, just hold on. Maybe people don't know the state of the country. Let me just give it to you. Hichilema is supported by Tony Blair. Tony Blair's boy is the current prime minister in UK. Number one, we are lucky that here on the other side, Joe Biden was removed. So Hichilema is struggling with the US. That's why they can even pull out of the IMF. But he has the support of Tony Blair, who can open doors for Hichilema in Israel. You know how Israel is, how powerful it is, how they can monitor your elections. They can disable even my communication here. They can monitor your WhatsApp group. Tony Blair can walk Hichilema in that. Then you have Brentes Foundation that is controlling First Quantum Mine. That is literally the biggest financier to UPND. Then you have Hichilema having Mwangalazalomis at TCZ and Brown Kasaro. But they pick my elections in 2026, how they will steal this election. Then he has the law enforcement at his disposal, who have no fear they can even attack the Archbishop. To win the 2026 elections, the kind of infrastructure required will be both local and international. You have to mobilize the international community to come on your side as the opposition. There are 12,100, about 12,300 polling stations. Do you have capacity to deploy minimum 4-5 people in the 12,400 to go and secure the vote to ensure that the UPND do not beat your monitors? Do you have money, the money Hichilema has with the backers he has, it will deposit and fight him in this coming election? Do you have that capacity? Instead of discussing those things, imomwikalira fechila bushi kuri nani twalafu miapo, uyu ni MMD, uyu ni nani, uyu ni nani. We are playing into the enemy's camp. I even laugh at my colleagues on social media when they are insulting one another and trying to destroy one another. Can you look at your Goliath? Look at your Goliath. How do you slay your Goliath? Stop quarreling amongst yourselves. Won't say you are children from the house of Jesse. Whether you are Jonathan or you are David, stop fighting. Look at the Goliath that is insulting your God, that is fighting and causing terror in our people. Okay, let's go back to the callers. Thank you. Yeah, callers, you can now call. Sorry, I had to stop your calls. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Oh, a lot of people are trying to call. The phone is just frozen. Okay, let me just say, please call. Yeah. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. Vamunkonjava.
Bamunkonge, mwabombe mkwai.
Kubaraba ba mwamba wesu bushe bakandidate tushere na babiri na ngo mwerafi. Mwerafi wa paki ya bantu na ba posta ba mokwe bati bakandidate bashara bati.
We tatula sala.
Okay, ba mwamba kwena nefo ningalanda mashu imurandire ya kankara sana. Arona wonsa bale umfwa kona kwa. So test tukumemo no kuyashe turula otherwise if mwebere na bisura matwisa no kamurangire. Nomba chiri kuri fofwe wantu kumona afa mwaturondoro era. Kya kutubika mu picture kulingana ne nshita nomba tufikito pali ino nshita na type ya ruling party ba president. Bakwe bashitwa baba isuka tushe pali ino nshita muntu nshi kuinga chimfyanya na baba nto bakweta makale tutazi ya musango. Then ina chimocho ninga kuletselesha ko fe bamwamba kulingana uko tufikire. Candidate bamwamba tachopire no kushopana bonse mukati kamiti mashako bafurefe bayishiba. Kufunya pofie ukaitemwe. To amona fe no kumona kwena pae. Because number 1 icyarengere sana ko bashitufume mu power. Pali PF conservative mu power pali propaganda number 1 Catalism ili ashiriali bikakwangu kubantu kuchimona icharerenga bamona mabehavior abakata bamo kuba paramishanya na bena toke tukabamona. So pali ino nshitecho ndera ndapo chakuba sana sensitive. Candidate utufire twakwata. Tatufire twakwata candidate wakweba bamu chita indoors. Makamaka kuma katas. Because ama katas techi bachimfya bena Zambia. Fuire tu arolekesha twamona kusha muntu nshabe na Zambia benga pokerera nangu muntu enga kwata nambe ikuru mukati ka kirongano PF ile yafwa ko fe okufwa entungurushi tei kavotera ule ntungurushi kuchimshana na president. So tufuire sabatu abasana very extra care kusha muntu nshi obenga pokerera kumwina Zambia oli onse kusha muntu nshi wakweba tinga twamubika po talenga abantu bayukisha ma memories yakale abakada because barando kweba tiwa kali matakaleka bambi bakada bachitirefira bamwamba wesu ndemye bamutirena mu chinga bambi na nomba tabasumina nemibere yawe. So tufure twafa candidate wakweba ti ngaba pachi pali mu president akwiririsha ira kadalizo mpako batufwe bantu turendera fe pamonga bena Zambia no kutekwa bwino sana no tipaba na performance tribalism paba fimbyao apano mbatufure chafe ni president wa bena Zambia but chirongani no abamo nichi ila iko ile moneka songa tuamona fe candidate wesule moneka kukwata sana mabondi abantu balya abashisekesha abantu mu society tibatureterera. So apotufure tu abapo sana very extra care tufure tu aroresha na outside PF pinch verified awo na pera ba mwambaine na perera parupe.
Thank you very much. Mungongeni mulibene wa platform. Thank you very much. So there's been a development where Honorable Brand Mundwile is saying he's not participating in the conclave. And like I've stated, the conclave is not constitutional. It's just an amicable way of trying to narrow down the candidates and for amongst ourselves to resolve. But in the press statement, Brand Mundwile has raised something alarming. He says there are maneuvers to have him removed or expelled. And I told you that it must be related to the way he formed and set up his campaign team, because I saw grumblings in some people accusing him of forming parallel structure. And in my view, I think that's not the offense. And we should act with restraint, with a lot of restraint at the moment. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I will remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
Yes. Mwamba.
Shimiani your device. Switch off the other device.
Okay, let me reduce the volume.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes.
You are getting me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your work you are doing. To start with, I'm very happy to hear that yesterday you were in the meeting. Now, Mr. Mwamba, please, time is not with us. What plans, what dates have you given, like you did in 2020, 2023? Did you, in your meeting yesterday, did you came up with a deadline for the convention, was still just waiting for the courts, or what is happening? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, a court matter was today. It hasn't taken place because the courts have not opened. But we are all determined to have the conference as soon as possible. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Honorable Mwamba.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. You are speaking to Siame.
Mr. Siame, make your contributions.
Thank you so much. Good evening to all the viewers and listeners. You have asked a very good question, Honorable Mwamba. What should be done to save Patriotic Front?
Mm-hmm.
I think what should be done is to compromise, where candidates has to weigh themselves, including you, Honorable Mwamba.
Mm-hmm.
What support do you have from Zambian people?
Mm-hmm.
Who are those people that are front runners, whom Zambian people think that they can run this country? That's what is supposed to be done. Right now, everywhere you go, you hear that Patriotic Front, they have only two individuals. Those who think that they can run the party. Individuals, they are very well known. And everyone knows them in this country. Honorable Munduvire as well as Makebi Zulu. What should be done right now is for the party now to sit down and ensure that the endorsement which people of Zambia are endorsing are respected. If we are not going to do that, then we should forget about Patriotic Front bouncing back in 2020, come this August. Because what we want to see are people that who are going to go around the country and are already accepted by the Zambian people. That's what we want to see. This issue of saying that no, people are going to be arrested, let them be arrested. How many leaders who have been arrested and became president in this country? If these guys will be arrested, then the Zambian people will say, okay, I think that's what these people think, that if they arrest these people, then we are not going to vote for them. But definitely, if you choose these two, they will drive this country to the levels where every Zambian will appreciate. I think that is my contribution this evening. Thank you so much. We are following.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. You can share the broadcast. Share the broadcast if you are a PF member. Wewe natio kulidia shuku. Na bemiensaka. Na tuimia lulu. Isen mumfwe. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Uncle J.
Uncle J, make your contribution, my brother.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you've really elaborated so much on the challenges and where Patriotic Front is coming from and where we are today. I think to be where we are, PF has gotten to a place where things are very clear. Things are very clear. In politics, you should never ignore the voices of the people. What I would actually request in Patriotic Front, the people that are front runners in PF right now, it's very clear. Nobody can debate this fact. We have Makebi Zulu and Blani Munduvile. My request would be, let Bagiven Uvinda be a big man that he has always been, for the sake of saving Patriotic Front and the nation at large. Let him play the chairperson's role and deal with the issue of these two individuals. It it is very clear that people on the ground want either Makebi Zulu or Honorable Blani Mundubile. These are the people that are there. So these issues that are coming up of trying to expel this and do that are not okay. For me, honestly speaking, I want to speak honestly, very patriotic in this case. I feel the people that are on the top running right now PF are the people that are being a very, very big problem and an hindrance to the progress that people want to make. The people have already decided they want a change of government. But it's like the Patriotic Front top leadership is holding the people at ransom, which is not right. They are really disturbing the emotions of the people. People want to make progress. And on the ground, it is very clear the people that, the persons that people want. So can Honorable Given Lubin that be a big man that he's always been? We really appreciate the work he's done in holding the party up to this end. But surely, he doesn't have, the support that one would get to be a president of Zambia as things stand. He's not commanding a following per se. But these two people that have come in, I think they have the capacity. Let them sit down and quickly give us a person. We don't have time. I thank you, Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Emmanuel Mwamba, Nene Mumbitiri.
Honorable Deputy DSG, Mwabombeni.
Mkwai tata, katuishibe nanga babomba shani.
Mkwai.
Awe, ba Mwamba. Inchito yeno yomule bomba. Tule imon and everybody is able to see. Besides being where you are, you're sacrificing so much of your time to talk to us. And you know what is really making me sad is umuntu lela ndechinka, I think abantu tabamutemwa. And Mwamba, let us not pretend. When Balungu was giving some of these positions kubantu, there were some agreements which were made, and publicly so. Kumera fiction kanadi papa, how people are insincere. Mwasumishanya no munove, diriafwa wapiribuka. I think for me, that's lack of integrity. I will not mention people's names as of now. Otherwise, it's very, very frustrating. And don't be surprised. She has been expelled. Because Bantu Bamobarefa Tukwate Ameshimukanwa. I'm feeling it for my colleagues who are in prison. Because you know, I was the first person who was arrested and put in prison for a long time. So the only people Awanchitako Bitaba Ikalamo 450 visit 525 days when that is one. So I know what our colleagues, especially Ababaka Kama 5-10 years, they are feeling. They are relying on us and they have hope on us. But we'll continue praying. And as I conclude, what's your comment on what is happening to Munia? Because in Ganemuntu Newa Ikeremu prison, what I know, unless in Gafiad Impita, Bushemu Nia Zulu Wadimu prison, Adiapo Kumo court. Ukweba tibamu chitako convict na kambi, efota fumina mujebe. Or as the offense he has committed in prison, not bailable. Because according to law, ngawapwisha sentence kukufumia, ngana upango mulandu mbinga tabakutuwele kumo court, that's when they follow you again. What is really happening to Munia? If you have nothing,
so they revoked unfairly his remission. Remember, if you are supposed to serve 12 months, you serve 6 months because 3 months will be remission. So they've revoked remission and they've accused him of some just fake things. Remember, he has sued the prison authorities for abuse, for humiliation and ill treatment. So I think they want to cover their rear. So he should have come out last month, but that 3 months they refused to remit it, you know, the remission. Which is just which is just continued harassment. So they accused him, whether he's been found with a phone, they just got him on a funny charge and then cancelled the remission to punish him.
That explains it, because I was really wondering what's really happening.
No, thank you.
So as I conclude, may God help us. The expelled and expelling, as you have rightly said, should come to an end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mumbipiri. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mwamba.
This sounds like JJ. Is this Honorable JJ from Petayuke?
Yes, this is Honorable JJ from Petayuke.
Make your contributions, my brother.
Yes, Honorable Mwamba, we need to call a spade a spade. Why I'm saying that we need to call a spade, the confusion where it's coming from. All of us, we know to say this is where the confusion is coming from, especially us who were very close with ECL. When ECL started moving through the provinces, he used to share some roadmap of the party. So the roadmap for ECL, we start with him. We asked him to say, Your Excellency, why have you given this position to the acting or to the vice? Why did you left this position? He said that this acting position, I can only leave to someone who doesn't want to aspire as a president. That's why I've given it to Honorable Ruvinda, because Honorable Ruvinda, I'm grooming him to be a father figure of the party. He's supposed to be a kingmaker, like me, ECL. If I'm not going to stand, I'm going to be a kingmaker. That's how Honorable Ruvinda will be a kingmaker as well. So we said, okay, it's fine. But now, even when he was in South Africa, ECL, he maintained to leave the powers with Ruvinda, knowing to say, very well to say, Honorable Ruvinda won't join the race. If ECL knew to say, Honorable Ruvinda was joining the race for the presidency, he wasn't going to be given that acting president. So this is a betrayal which Ruvinda is doing to ECL, because ECL gave him that position as acting president because he was told to say, you are a kingmaker, you are the one who is supposed to unite everyone. But right now, Ruvinda, because of his betrayal now, there is no one who is a kingmaker now in the party, because the kingmaker has joined the race. So me, I'm calling for Honorable Ruvinda not to betray ECL tomorrow, to resign from the race and be the kingmaker which ECL left him. Hello, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you. I think your point is very clear. I was listening.
Yeah. So now, in my conclusion, I'm calling everyone, those who are true patriotic front member, those who are close to ECL, they should sit down with Ruvinda to say, Ruvinda, if you were amongst the rest, ECL was not going to leave you as the acting president. ECL left you as the acting president because he sat down with Ruvinda to say, Ruvinda, you don't. That's why if you remember, Ambassador Mwamba, the time you and your colleagues when you went there to Secretariat to pay. Honorable Winda never went there to pay the money, the 200. Why? Because he sat down with ECL and he agreed to be a kingmaker. But today, in the absence of ECL, Baruvinda now wants to betray the agreement which was there between him and ECL. So please, I'm calling each and everyone who is close to Baruvinda to be sincere and to tell the people the truth, not this betrayal we are seeing. If we can betray ECL before he's buried, what more when we bury ECL? How is he going to betray ECL?
JJ, you are in good books with the PF. You are in good books with Honorable Given Luwinda. Have you tried to call him and say that?
Yes, I've tried to talk to him. I've told him to say, Luwinda, you're a father figure. Can you unite people? I've talked to him, but we are not seeing the unity, Mwamba. We are not seeing the unity. We are not seeing the unity. Even you, I'm sure where you are not seeing the unity, because if the unity was there, by now would have the candidate. You have been going live to sell the candidate, to sell the special purpose vehicle. I was going to be equally doing the same. But now who is causing all these now problems? It's Luwinda, who has betrayed ECL. Because he was left as the kingmaker.
Thank you very much, JJ.
Even you, Mwamba, me, I was close to ECL. So you tell Luwinda to say, JJ was close to ECL, and ECL told him to say, Luwinda, you are a kingmaker. So maintain the position which he was left with as a kingmaker.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Indeed he loves ECL, and indeed if he loves the party, let him maintain as a kingmaker. Why didn't he pay together with you people there? ECL trusted him to say, I will leave the acting. Even on his bed, ECL said, I'm leaving Luwinda as acting because he's not participating as a presidential aspiring candidate. It's so painful to what Luwinda is doing. Even you, Mwamba, can betray you, Luwinda, if you can betray ECL like this.
JJ, Odombala Mbika Palubana. Remember, he's my president, and I am spokesperson of the party. So when you attack,
mention this, but us won't even fear anything because we are in pain where we are.
Yeah.
That's why we are going to call a spade a spade.
No, thank you for your comments.
You're in pain where you are there.
Of course, I'm in
pain.
pain.
You're in pain. Look about our friends who are not home right now, where they are. They are even they're abducted. Where is Chitotera today? Do you think Chitotera is happy? Where is Chilangwa? Where is Munia? Where is Goman? Where is Emmanuel Mwamba? Where is JJ? And then someone you have been left. If ECA or you, Mwamba, left you to say you are the spokesperson for the party, and then after dying, and then you want to betray ECA to say no, I'm not the spokesperson. I want to take as a kingmaker. No. So Luwinda, if he's arguing, ask him why didn't he pay the 200 at first? Because ECA refused him to say you're a kingmaker, be a kingmaker.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then people, they want to call to state tribalism when we are calling Luwinda to say no, don't do what. But it's him who agreed to be a kingmaker. So a kingmaker is more than a president. A kingmaker is more powerful than a president. So let him be a kingmaker, Luwinda.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for calling JJ Banda. Thank you. You truly were close to ECL, and you know what you state, I cannot doubt. So, but I will find means and ways. I'm supposed to host Honorable Given Luwinda here with other presidential candidates. We will see how we can take on that request where you are saying he was not allowed to, or he was persuaded not to stand, and that was his position. So thank you very much, JJ. That was Petauke, former Petauke Member of Parliament, Emmanuel Banda. He says Honorable Lubinda should not be in the presidential race, and he's citing information he had from ECL, where Honorable Given Lubinda should have been, like he says, a kingmaker or a midwife to the process and not a presidential candidate. Caller, thank you for waiting. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm speaking to Daniel from Cape Town.
Daniel, make your contributions.
Thank you very much. I've heard very well what Honorable JJ Banda has said, and it has made sense. With the PF, some of the people that want to stand for presidency, yes, of course, but quite experience in politics. They've run their race and everything. But again, to a disadvantage is, some of these people who want to stand, and they would be good working in the background. Like, for example, what happened in MMD. There were people who were behind President FTJ, and it came as a surprise, Kuliva Kaunda. So, mentioning names, yes, Vamundu Video or the other candidates who suit better, because Nefia Kuchitapo attack Fika Befi, no. We all know that it's not very difficult to bring down HH, because what he's doing, he's got no direction. The seat, the presidential seat, was not meant for him. The statements he made, Kumaradi, the achievements that he talks about. Look at Zambia today. Copper is trading at its highest price. But Zambia, so such things you take advantage of, like you've mentioned. It needs people who fight. So like you are doing, Ambassador Mwamba, regardless of you being outside Zambia, you are still fighting, pushing. There is something that you are doing that people are hearing your voice every now and then. Yet there are other people who are seated when it comes for time for press conferences. These podcasts or whatever we may call it that you make, is a step ahead. We are sharing this information. We are being enlightened of what is happening. People are know that the PF is alive, are knowing that PF is alive. Now, the other people, press conference, you want to attack other people, you want. But I'm thing. Media houses, big media houses like ZNBC, what the other ones are, Baba Chitanani, they are happy to hear you say things, because that's the way they make money. That's the way they keep their studios moving. But for you, you are not here this time to make money or to make numbers. No, it's the love of the PF that you have. So if we have 10 of you in PF, do you think campaigning will be very difficult? It won't be. Then lastly, I have a question for you, Ambassador Mwamba. The case with Chavinga and the PF and holding the papers and everything that is in court, don't you see a situation in Mingarata Shabo show that we can still reach election time where the PF can even fail to what you call this, nominate or register a candidate for election, for presidential elections? Or maybe you are sure that PF will be brought back to its normal thing, because Mingarato, my worry is PF. Is there any possibility that you return PF and you'll be able to put a candidate in August. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just the last caller. Yes, there's a possibility that if the courts are independent, we can have the PF back. But the PF should plan with or without being granted the PF back. That's how you plan. They should plan with or without it, but plan of how they will participate in that election. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you. Unknown, I'm in the copper belt.
Unknown, make your contributions.
Thank you. I don't know if people have calendars in their homes. I'm worried. We are almost halfway in the month of January. And we don't expect to see these differences, these expulsions that are rumored in the PF in this month of January. When I saw the conclave, arrangements, I developed some hope. I had a feeling that we are heading somewhere. But today or tonight, I feel so lost. And I'm not the only one. I think many Zambians, they feel so lost. The little hope they had that, coming down to just two candidates would, solve this issue, this leadership issue in the PF has, gone away. So just like that, we don't know what will be there. I hope many Zambians or those supporters or followers of PF will not feel like the way I'm feeling. Because definitely by tomorrow, they will be, feeling that where do we shift to? Because our hope is in the PF. But the way things are looking, the way things seem, it's like we are not heading anywhere. PF has got a court case, court issue, which they are trying to sort out. Again, there is also leadership issues, which are also, in a mix. Things stand. It's just the enemy who is happy. See the way it will be publicized in the social media, and tomorrow you see it in newspapers. They are happy that this confusion will keep going. Can we find an amicable solution to all these issues? If at all we fail to solve these issues, can these people start forming their political parties so that they start getting their membership? And like all of them are sitting in the PF, let them given Vindalet, their brand, let these others who cannot solve these issues form their political parties. And then, Bandok send them members, one like could I drive a child towards no solution. It's like that's the position where we are. We have PF has a lot of followers. All of us who are here, we are followers, but we don't know what is ahead of us. It's like number one said to we don't know. The structures are there. It's just on top there where we are not okay. If I told you people who are on top there, you don't have directions, can you bring someone on top there who can just pick us up? I think in Mr. Mwamba, in the end, all of us will give up. Like what Mr. Dr. Shushua gave up point to do with the national issues. We'll also give up to do with PF. And that's what we don't want. Can we solve these issues? We only have less than 5 months. We are in January is coming to an end very soon. Today is the 9th. Very soon we'll be done with January. And then we still don't have a direction. Mr. Mwamba, anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. It's a very difficult subject to all of us. We want the opposition to work together. We want unity in the PF. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mwamba.
Good evening.
I will remain anonymous.
Yes, my brother.
I just wanted to
react to some of the views that have been raised by some of the callers, and specifically to the issue, which in my view is very speculative, suggesting that the reason ECL gave the position that he gave to Honorable Luvinda was on the pretext that the Honorable did not have any presidential ambitions. I think that it would not be right for someone to speak like they are speaking from a place of fact.
Remember who was speaking? Remember who was speaking?
Sorry?
Do you remember who the caller was?
Yes, Honorable JJ.
Yeah, so it is difficult to say that he didn't say that because of his place with ECL. He's not. I just wanted to remind you that he's not an ordinary caller, so that you put in context.
No, I know that, but still, that doesn't make his statement a statement of fact.
Okay, thank you. No, I thought maybe you were not aware.
No. I know him very well.
Okay, thank you.
And I know the relationship that he shared with the former president. So all I'm trying to say is that Honorable Luvinda vying for the top position in the PF is what constitutional right.
Correct.
There's nowhere in the constitution where yes. And so it may be wrong for people to begin to say he is making a mistake to do that. Why are we not saying the problem is that we have so many people that are hungry for that position, and that is a source of confusion. You cannot single out President or Honorable Luvinda alone. There is CK there who wants to be president, and we did see this happen at the time that former President Michael Sata, may his soul rest in peace, died. We saw a lot of people come up again to say, we want to be the president. And eventually, ECL won that position. And again, the problem I seem to have, Honorable, is we should not treat the party PF like it was owned by ECL. And so whatever ECL says has to go. I think the party is an organization, an institution that has a constitution to be followed. I don't even know whether it was going to be right if ECL was going to say, okay, now that I feel I am not too well and I cannot proceed, I think I will have to leave this position with Ambassador Mwamba. I think that was still going to be unconstitutional because he didn't own the party. So it's just fair to say that, well, all of these candidates that have shown interest are doing it because it's constitutionally acceptable. It's constitutionally their right to do so. But the way the speakers that phoned in some time earlier who were saying the people have already decided it's either Honorable Mundubire or Honorable Makebi Zulu, other people from the party could have other preferences. There's some people that want Ambassador Mwamba to be president and will not agree with the position of saying Kanofiewa Mundubire na Nguba Makebi. Others want Mao Samba. Others want Honorable Luvinda. But if all of the people that have come up to say we want to run this party, if they can agree to say, okay, I think let's pick on this person or this person to go, and then we can vote for either of the two. That's fine. Obviously, their followers will just say this is what our leaders have agreed. But for me, for as long as the number is as big as it is, people that will be disappointed by way of not being elected may not want to stay in the party. And like every other person has said, there's no time. There's no time for confusion. There's no time for infighting. There's no time for pulling one another here and there. You said that in your preamble. There's no time. What you need now is to come together and say, this is the person we want to go with into the election. Can we all rally behind this person? In the absence, we don't see anything happening come August 2026. So that was my submission, Honorable.
Thank you, my brother, for the.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your opinion. I'm grateful. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Anonymous from
Anonymous,
the land of AI.
Make your contributions.
Yeah, so I think tonight is a very difficult evening. But again, like always, thank you so much, Ambassador, for this opportunity. And it's good to hear people say and make comments. I just want to make a suggestion, maybe one and a half a suggestion. I think let's find the leader who should meet the following qualities. And I've written this down, so I'll be very quick. One, that leader should not be associated in any way with HH. He should be an HH nemesis, should be a direct opposite. Okay, in philosophy, in behavior, in whatever, we should find someone. If HH is on the red side, this person should be totally green. There should be no gray areas. That should be the first thing to pick. Secondly, HH should not find it easy to find or concoct cases against the candidate that we pick. It should not be easy. Or they did not deliver anything that HH can use a week, a day, or 2 weeks before the elections to lock them up would be doing ourselves a disservice to pick someone who's legally vulnerable. So, we should not pick someone who HH could find it easy to concoct a case against. Third, the candidate should be straightforward, okay? And they should also be easy to associate with ECL. Very easy to associate with ECL because ECL will have the say in the 2026 elections posthumously. It's something we can't avoid. HH has brought it upon himself by blocking the ban of ECL up to this. We are in the 7th month. We are likely to go into the 8th month. ECL is going to have a posthumous statement through those elections. So the candidate must be easy to associate with ECL. That's going to be critical. The next point, fourth, is that the candidate should be genuine enough and able to look after his colleagues. If the colleagues say we are going with this one, it should be someone who you can tell from their behavior, from their attitude, from their nature, that they will be genuine enough to look after their colleagues. Okay, if others pave way for him, he should be able to look back and show that he has appreciation, not the kind of person who's got an attitude that he can throw his friends under the bus. So they need to pick amongst themselves someone who they know this one is showing a sense of genuineness to look after his colleagues. Okay, and after that, the other half suggestion that I said I would have is basically that maybe we should subject them to a peer review. Maybe we should subject them to a peer review so that, in that peer review, we let the nation get involved. So maybe they have failed to just discuss and be humble, because I'm failing to see humility amongst them. So maybe we should subject them to a peer review, and that peer review should be in front of the whole nation so that the nation can help judge and suggest or come up with the person who is suitable to be a candidate on behalf of the opposition. I just thought I should throw that in because I think we are going through circles and we're beginning to look like we don't think. There's lots of us out here, and because others have suggested that they want to be, it's not that they are smarter. They should realize that there are people who are not even vying for president who might be smart. So when we say unite, choose among us, they should know that we know what we are talking about. And if amongst themselves they are beginning to do this, gaslighting each other and talk, it's not helping. All of them should go home tonight and sleep over this and realize that we condemn their childishness. They should sit back, if they're sitting again tomorrow, with a renewed sense of maturity, because this is not helping. It is not helping anybody at all. They should feel rebuked because they are not helping the situation. I don't know. Maybe they've been paid by HH to behave like that because this is not making sense.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you. This is Sinyango Dani.
Mr. Sinyango Dani from Canada, make your contributions.
Thank you. Namwishiwaba Emmanuel Mwamba. PF is people. And this is the party that is embedded with the blessing of the founder, Michael Chilufya-Sata. But what is happening is, actually I would say Chavinga is even much far better because he came out in the open to show us who he is than the people who have hidden in the party, but they are not with the party. If PF was a united party, the way we know it should have been, Bill 7 wasn't going to pass. Like the previous caller said, I think these guys, no one among them wants PF to survive. They want to destroy it. And the problem we have now is we have got only less than 6 months, and then the main opposition party is not even anywhere near to be a united front. Why can't we ask ourselves, among even the people that want to stand in the presidency of PF, how honest are they with themselves and the people? You know, when you are a leader, leadership is not just about me being popular. And this is where the problem we've had for the past maybe 40 years in our country. Leadership is a blessing and it's a calling to save people, not to save yourself. I'll give an example of Mwamba. I know you support Manchester United. Manchester United.
I'm actually Arsenal.
But within the. Oh, okay, Mwamba. Sorry. You know, I'll give I support Manchester United. I'll give an example. They work as a team, but within the team, they know who's a striker. Without that person being in the team will not perform well. So for us, for me, Mwamba, if you could sit even 2 weeks from now, I think the best we can do with PF, let them go to the convention, the people who choose, like the previous caller said, let us not be wasting time because and then the more we are wasting time, the more the chief commander of Imingalato is smiling. That's why they have got the audacity to even start calling people names, hyenas and everything, because they know that the biggest opposition party is in disarray. But can we ask ourselves, because I've just seen he feels like he's been betrayed and everything. This will continue happening if we don't go for a convention. Mwamba, you are an MCC member. I think it's time to say, guys, this is enough. People still love us because PF has stood for 5 years. And the reason why Uyu Chief Mingalato commander has locked PF because he knows that PF is the strongest opposition party. But let's put the house in order. Thank you, Mwamba. God bless you and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much, my dear brother from Canada. Let's hear from some more people. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you very much. Mr. Piri from Chama District.
Mr. Piri, make your contributions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mwamba. I want to remind you, MCC Ambassador Mwamba, that in 2021, the PF gave a directive that all those who were aspiring, those who were in party structures, who were holding position in party structures, were directed that they should step aside, and the president appointed new people to act in those positions. So the problem where it's starting from is with our acting president, Given Lubinda. He's an aspiring candidate, but he's still holding into the position of acting president. He was supposed to choose someone neutral to act in that position, and then he continue pursuing his candidature. Not where he is a candidate, again is busy giving directive to other candidates. That's where I feel that's where the confusion is starting from. The other thing that I want to raise, Ambassador Mwamba, here in Chama District, you know, the problem that I've seen, most people are commenting who are not here in Zambia. And if you ask us in rural areas, you find that there are maybe 2 names that people know on the ground. And we are busy commenting on other people. No, we want this one. We need to be realistic. Time is not there. If we choose someone that the rural areas they don't know, it will be difficult for us to say that candidate. So we need a candidate that is known even in Mafinga, a candidate that is known even in Kanchivia. It will be easier for us to sell. So we are saying, even these our leaders here, they know themselves to say, I think he and me, I'm not yet there. I think this one and this one, they can do better. So we are appealing to our leaders. Imagine our brother today, Munia Zulu, even after finishing sentence, is still in custody. But here we have selfish leaders who are not thinking about our brother Munia. We are talking about Honorable J.J. Banda. I was listening to him. He is not in Zambia. You, Ambassador Mwamba, you're not here. You've left your family here. You miss your family. But here we have leaders who do not think about the farmer who has not received a FRA payment today, but they just want to be there for their personal benefit. We have a leader who does not think. We have leaders who don't think about farmers who were sharing farming inputs in caps. We need to look at all those issues. I think our leaders need to do a good job. We are appealing on our leaders in Patriotic Front. And that let them do a good job. Let them try all means to remove softness. And let them just say, okay, this one, I think, they will still be appreciated. They will still be remembered. All they want is unless them, no any other person. That is not a good spirit. And then the other issue, let's stop the issues of firing people at this time where we are. I think we are I'm seeing Hari Kalawa now becoming more serious than all of us. And people, by the end of the day, they'll be running to Hari Kalawa than the PF because they've seen that we are more confused than the people thought. So I feel we should reflect on that and make sure January should not end, but we should have a leader because time is not with us. Thank you very much, Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you. Good evening. This is Abraham Rooney.
Yes, my dear brother. Make your contributions.
Thank you, Ambassador. Leaders were so very aspire. I think, and we've been receiving calls every day. Because very many confusions every day. I think next time program candidates interview bakalanda bonse interview interview uyu interview bonse bali pamo bakulalanda because we need to see direction. If you are straight because banaka opposition. We need to show direction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ambassador Mwabombeni.
Endita Mwabombeni.
Joseph Kuchirabombwe.
Joseph, make your contributions.
Yes, sir. Ambassador ndefo kuitisha kuenesha ishubanga mula kwa tama meeting mwema leaders from PF or not. Ambassador leadership ila tanga fya mumuntu at this person is a leader and by the particular time muntu or abantu balefa we can only have a one leader at a time. But given Lubinda ngatabaye mani by given Lubinda evaleleta confusion mu PF mwe bantu bakwalesa twafweni tufunyepo ababa shonongo tukwete ikatane nokusala ekintu kimo apana firanga fya it's either Brian Mundubile or Makebi Zulu evacuate abantu. Let us go for these two so that tufunyepo abantu kataneni ba given Lubindanga ba maintain vice president in future kuntashinga twapita tets babalabe kuti babapela position. We can only have one leader at a time. Elo ba mundu bile twapapa ifo tuchetekele. Chitana withdraw. About to participate mudi convention ifo tuchitekele kutsirana tukwata presidency Brian muntu birena totera twafweniko bebe niba given lubinda bayibweremo balalenga twambye kubatunganya kwatsirindi bareba bomfya na totera.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
I'm calling from Zimbabwe.
Yes, my dear brother. Make your contributions.
Wonderful. Okay, so Emmanuel Mwamba Verified ukulanda kofi panono. We appreciate if you're sana because I think you've done so much. And we don't know what the opposition would have been without you. So tulemikasha sana. Elo tulefayo kushitako encourage ifwe babemba ifwe. Fulama presidents na nafula. We need to give way to one person. Let us unite because in the first place nifwe waba chalo yabambiaba ifwewo. Because of our selfishness way of doing things, twapata balungu ero nomba mwamona ife watuchita abantu twabichalo. So let us unite our opposition. Let us look away from who is who. If you are tirati fwe kumwesu kwe kwa wafia ma president weka tafia tuafwe. Let us go ahead and unite. Tupere umuntu mubola. Ilili inefye. In fact, pa New Year, mwene sana wakapokola, and it was so surprising. It was so surprising. Nisha wakapokola na abafulo ushiku. Nish kulifyere chitika oloshani because tafia chitika wakapokola kuba over. Ama moto kaya arresta we kwata tushkwati ni welding. Takwa abapunsi aso, but this time around twalemo na kwate atiri mbi. Ulika program. In fact, we were so very much hopeful at walabu kapanyuye na tukwata wa PF president. Wea sangawe zero. Wea sangamu fili ya shiyaba na anikani. Wa father wesu. So, he said twikale panchi. Most of our people have been intimidated, convicted, always politics at play.
Thank you, my brother. You can see. Thank you.
Come the next game.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, my dear brother.
Yeah, I have been listening to you. I was gonna be starting from what I thought I was going to say initially, but can I tell you something? I appreciate this last caller, especially when he speaks about those of us who are from that region. And it's reason we are where we are. Now, I've been listening from when you started. You spoke about fighting back. This man came into power with propaganda, and we never fought back. We sat back, never contradicted or corrected or told people the truth. There was corruption, Mwamba, in the PF government, in your government. Let's be honest. There was corruption, yes. Is there no corruption in his government? That is where I get angry. There is corruption now. In fact, it's gotten worse. You from the time you started the program, the only thing you missed out was cadres, and I think I would want to believe we lost votes because of cadres. What I would want to hear from the opposition, especially the PF, is we are not going to have cadres anymore. That is what we need. We are in a position where, Mwamba, today, when I woke up, and I'm one person who wakes up and I'm checking the exchange rate, how can the pound drop down from 34 kwacha to 26 kwacha today? It doesn't make sense. Try and explain it to a praisee, and they are telling you, you are bitter. You are. There's one who called me in the morning today, and they were saying, we are making progress. Progress where? I was reading an article by my elder brother, Bamembe. He explains everything. But these guys they are doing what you people didn't do. It's amazing, Bamamba, and please, scary. I've got to go. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Thank you. I've got a lot of callers waiting as we begin to close. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Mwewa from Livingston.
Bamwewa, make your contributions and thank you for waiting.
Now, the topic I think it is of national significance, son, because hope ya Zambia ni patriotic plant, and meaning that ama problems the patriotic plant ile pitamo na sakamanika sana chalo, and everyone is hoping that these problems can be resolved as soon as possible, and that is our prayer. I think so. Now, the period to I can say it's quite a very spiritual period. That's why in Kamamuna, Baid Garunga number the Turashika Baid Garunga. I think that's why no piani, no piani, Muliko Washu, Kobu piani, Panturing it in Mwamba. Traditionally, the Bapianica Muntunga Mwashik, but Warunga number the Turashik. That's why I'm saying that it is somehow spiritual. Oronga Mwamuna na attack Yapari Wahari Kibanda.
I think this is something that is spiritual, where
ruling party have a voice ya opposition, including most of the PF who take over. Na wipaya. So voice sishirete muri church. And I think if you manage to bari kubanda, bena bari mnakwata bari shupa bari kubanda, but it spiritually we want the church to help the Zambians. I think that's the interpretation. Now, I think as I said earlier, now I'll give a bit of events just to show that actions speaks louder than words. So I'm going to pick on a specific individual who is now the Patriotic Front president according to the constitution. That is Honorable Given Luwinda. So Honorable Given Luwinda, they were supposed to they describe relationship and the Patriotic Front. So I'm not really trying to promote a candidate, but I'm just trying to give facts. Action speaks louder than words. Patriotic Front. You talk of we wanted to retire in 2019, but why did the room was after 2021 general elections? And I think that is why he didn't even contest for Kabwata. Now, 2021, I'm sure after Tarusama elections, 2 weeks after Tarusama elections, Dr. Edgar Chagwarongo convened the Central Committee meeting. And I think that's a meeting that where you are given as the spokesperson for the party, and Dr. Honorable Rafona Kachet as Secretary General, Nawarubind as Vice President. Balungu alikuwa retire in 2021. But Central Committee mwasa baromboko watao dole ni mpanga decision hiyo. That's how he had asked for a leave, or I can call it sabbatical leave. I think you recover Mwamba very well. From that moment, there was a point where Given Luwinda to act as Patriotic Front president. Unfortunately, 2020, Balungu wanted to retire, but I think after a confusion, he came back into active politics to come and rescue the PF. After Given Luwinda went back to his position as the vice president of the party. When Balungu unfortunately was going to South Africa for his medical in January 2025, Bashir Luwinda to act as the president of the Patriot Front and to act as the president of the Country Alliance. Balungu, I think South Africa could have added them banning Kalata to a firm position ya Luwinda. I'm trying to say actions speaks louder than words. Ababambi abashiri aba 2021 emo bali bonse mu Central Committee. Imisango shabo kungashari wino. Nishitaba basalire kuri Balungu to be the vice president of the party. So those are some of the questions that are there. And then one of the greatest worries of Mwamba, Balungu bali sana worried about. Nyayama problem today mwana PF. I think it is also related to one of the audios. And I started between up a phone party audio. The audio that was posted concerning the former SG, but my watch to my phone the party program. I think there was an audio. Leranda Pakwewa Tino Kateka Fidava Movemba or Vice President Wangutipata. I think there was those remarks that were attributed to the I cannot specify, but we were coming from that background. Now, Mwamba, when you talk of experience, amongst our candidates to Mwamba, when it comes to experience, you discover that Baruvinda has served in parliament for 20 years, okay? And when you look at his track record in Kabwata, the time that he was assuming as Kabwata member of parliament. In terms of development, Kabwata was number 68. When Baruvinda left Kabwata in 2021, Kabwata was one of the most developed constituencies in the country. It was number 1. And then when you look at
among ministerial positions. How many ministerial positions has Mr. Rovinda held? You find that there are about 7 ministries that he held. And when you talk about the integrity and how he behaved in parliament, I think when it comes to that, I think we are making a decision on behalf of the country. So even we want to look at that reform my experiments, reform experience for the betterment of this country. Okay? So as Zambians, let's look into those areas. Balungu, of course, but I think action speaks louder than words. Balungu actions yabo. Yes, until his death. And that is the fact. That's the fact. So now, Balungu Tatrashika, and the PF constitution is very specific. So at present in Gapwa, Vice President, Darabani President. And I think when you follow the PF constitution, I think it is clear on that regard. So in the number of Abekara Chalo, especially the PF members, let us be desires and just look at facts.
Thank you, Wamwewa. Thank you, Wamwewa. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, Mwamba Mwagombeni, nameless here as usual.
Yes, yeah. My dear sister, make your contributions.
Yes, Mwamba, yeah, twalila tuanaka. Yeah. You know, Mwamba, you have given an insight and your analysis has given a clear picture to most of the ordinary Zambian. Yeah. You know, Mwamba, you must have been, most of the people, they must have been wondering to why the leader has not been nominated yet. You know, there had been, a lot of calling and crying from a lot of supporters asking for the party, to unite. But until now, we haven't seen anything. And I've also heard from most of the callers are still insisting on that. Learning from what you have underlined, it's clear the situation with PF has a short step to cross the line. Yeah, and my conclusion, never feel but once accused. Yeah, ordinary people. Ekintu kimufire kikakalipa sana kulifu bonse kyakweba ati the effort that you have been putting in Bamwamba to this day tapali na mfumefire kitika deep down themselves nabe shibokweba ati tapali efo balachita. This is all we can say, or I can say. Tapali efo balachita Bamwamba bantu kale bayamba bantu kulanda to this day nomba twaingira na January, soon will be in February. Fika chitika Luisa. That's why namokari na ifula na veshiva, and they had already known right from the beginning, because they were already warning you, saying that you've got no party. Bali mite kale kumite afida tutea bakoswenga balefo kwe bativese bapita no batwabika putuli atishana tutupama bali mitea. So hapa kupe pafe kuli balesa katwisha fo chalaba efe ndefo afyo kulanda Bamwamba ero chikabipa sana Bamwamba na kuli imwe bene kuliani kumushi nombe insto mulevo mbanga tafire bumbeka finche ninchi namba finchi fletangi kwapo kwena mwandini chitenpo chimo ushabebeni abantu kanchitabomfwa ngamba kuti twalanda shani aona tunaka mwandini Bamwamba kulanda fechinka era mumone na ifo fwe bana mayo tatwa basana involved. We are very few kumlandu wachintinya emkwai na lekela pele Bamwamba
Mayo Natasha sana, thank you, and thank you for your persistent cause. Mulabomba na imwe. Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Mwamba
ambassador ni bamunkongena wera kofe nekikoseresho panono because natumpa kubakola bamo abachisa na makana ndekuseresha kutokweva ambassador pano twafika balifye sana oro ndesubira nokuva nomweshi tawapweni chitwakwatagie kukone ntungurushi but lero chengefo kweva kope bakura baravachi bana basakamana niko turi bwino sana abantu barekira okumona party baruling party yabakwete confusion ikuru kuchinayi dorere nyama nomination mwaramu na confusion ni ara because iyi delimitation babikire kuko kweba confusion ikabamo mu party ikafira okubafwa confusion yena ireba kongo ikuru kuchira nayo twete mu opposition so wangu ino ine January ninsubira ko batora kwate ntungurushi bako kwese mukutamba ya confusion yoko ireisa bantu yena bare ikumanya na ngare kwa na mutabare ifwaya bagifo turi beta ukubacira lero abantu bashakwata menso ekiba mune bambasa so besa kamana sana abantu tulifia pasuma ora kwata na vie ko tule kwata na mutabatu pate na ngubatupera tulifie ku right direction na totera ba bambasa.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Honorable sir, I'm calling from Zimbabwe, and I just wanted to make a quick response to what we are talking about.
Yes.
I think talking kukulanda pali ili ashiria yama corruption yama shanshan, the government is not doing well. I think umuntu nayi mwena kale. So the best year to refa iko kuchitapa lekeni tusale president chapo area ashirifule lyaba kuba mwamba chinjeni fyama topic apa tukwate ili ashiria kuba pamo so that twasala president. Let's start hearing kubantu muntu eyo balefwaya so that tumone if you twala achitapa. And if anything at that way convention, like in Tiff and Avalubinda chapwa, if it is sharp. To pay any face if in chapwa in condo yamba. Istwing a number munani cani. Mamma background. Apart that to quit the face here, Kuyanaena. To pay any face in chapwa game to our winner. Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Nkairuila. I'm calling from Wansabombwe.
Your name is?
My name is Nkairuila.
Nkairuila. Yes, my brother. Make your contributions.
Yes. Yes. Firstly, thank you so much, Ambassador Mwamba, for allowing me this opportunity to make a contribution. An exclaimer. I'm not a member of Patriotic Front, neither am I a supporter, but am a concerned citizen.
Thank you.
To start with, I would love to say that the presidential candidates for PF are just too many. And as a result, that number is also adding to the complexity of finding a solution to the problem at hand. So, number one step must be that those candidates that have begged the number to balloon to such an extent must start withdrawing in the interest of the nation. For instance, for you, by Emmanuel, practically it is not possible for you to be on the ballot. So the best thing that you can do is to do the Zambians a favor by withdrawing. And two, Balwinda, he cannot be both president of the Patriotic Front and also a candidate. He must also withdraw. And every other person that knows that their name is not for this particular hour, because this election is not about PF. This election is in the interest of the nation. And apart from that, you have to understand that the major interest that you have to satisfy in your electing or in your finding of a possible candidate must be the youth. The youth are a major factor. They're going to play a major factor in the next election. And so you must satisfy the curiosity or the needs of the youth. So when it comes to looking for a candidate, don't even waste time. Look for a youthful candidate, whoever that is, because you'll be satisfying the needs of the youth on the ground. Number two, let that candidate, just like some other person alluded to, be a person that should tap into the sympathy vote that comes from the Edgar Lungu factor, because definitely Edgar Lungu is going to be a factor in the next election. So anyone that you feel or that you know can easily tap into that must be looked at as a person that must be given an opportunity now, not the first and last election. Others can contest the elections any other time, but this is a crucial time. You can't be wasting time. Every person is there and counting yourself up. Me, I'm a presidential candidate. The other one, the presidential candidate. No, just, I don't know. Just arrive at one person. Start by withdrawing and tell others to withdraw as many as possible so that the number can be reduced. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. I've got my dear sister, I think Honorable Mpiri has called back. Honorable Mpiri, before I get other callers, let me allow you an opportunity to say whatever it is that has made you come back.
I just want you know, every program, you are very candid and mwachirala and shinka. Some of the callers who are calling, answer them accordingly because you know the truth. For instance, you know that Balungu Valley, that if Otatwa will be birth attendants, will give birth to a new president. There were some people he agreed with to say Bakabanabo Azama birth attendants. If you know this podcast, but when you're speaking the truth, you know the people he was mentioning as birth attendants. Even the positions some of the people were given, it's because they didn't show interest. They agreed with Balungwa Tabake Ninine. What has changed today? So be candid and say the way things are, because I heard one caller who was trying to mislead. He doesn't know that Balungwa Abene. He was saying publicly, Nam Central Committee Barelanda. Am I lying, Bamwamba? Barelanda too, there will be better attendance. So correct people so that they have a true picture. Because things have just changed because Balungu Bafwa.
Yeah, it actually Akulanda PF Lila Shupa when you're an insider. But let me say this. JJ Banda, Emmanuel JJ Banda, former Petaoke Central Member of Parliament, former, and Honorable Mumbipiri. For JJ Banda was very explicit. He says Honorable Given Lubinda should not have stood because President Edgar Lungu made him acting president, appointed him vice president, and made him acting president on the understanding that he will not stand. He will prepare for whoever will be PF president. Honorable Mumbipiri has come on that particular issue as well, stating that some were left in the position because they were going to act as birth attendants. And since this is a candid program today, let me say this. And Mwewa said the most experienced candidate we have is Given Lubinda. So how do we balance this interest? It's going to be difficult, but let me say it this way. Just on top of my head, it is true that Honorable Given Lubinda has sought the presidency for some time. In 2014, Honorable Given Lubinda was among those candidates that wanted to challenge Honorable Edgar Lungu. There was GBM, there was Honorable Given Lubinda. There were, if you look at that list, there were about 5 other candidates, Mal Sampa and others, Emmanuel Chenda, and I think Wilbur Simusa in 2014. So Honorable Given Lubinda has always had presidential ambitions because in 2014 he tried to challenge. I don't know the decision that President Edgar Lungu made to make him vice president and made him act as president of the Patriotic Front. But I was in one meeting when we're trying to challenge, that meeting I referred to, when we're trying to challenge President Edgar Lungu, whether he was coming, because there was a talk of Alebwele Lapo, and members began to feel that the convention was being delayed because of the Alebwele Lapo project. And for sure, President Edgar Lungu's name was now on the lips of people every time he went jogging. And the more the UPND failed, the more people felt that Edgar Lungu should come back. So as members of the Central Committee, we went to face President Edgar Lungu to tell us the truth. And there were people like even me and others who said, look, wakateka ngamlefo kubwela, ngamwatuweba, then we'll stand aside. In that meeting, there was a remark that I personally witnessed where President Lungu, it was a bit casual, but it was serious. He said, no, I am not standing unless people want me. Those are the words he used. Me and my brother here, we will not stand. He might be speaker. He was referring to Honorable Given Lubinda, that he might be, we will be birth attendants. He will be speaker. Now, the action by Honorable Given Lubinda to decide to stand despite those sentiments from the President Lungu, is it an act of treachery? Is it an act of betrayal? In my view, it is not. Because remember, even President Lungu himself had said he had resigned, but he would wait to hand over power to whoever would be elected under the PF. But changes were done, opinions were made, and we allowed President Lungu to come back because there was this huge need in the country. As the decision by Honorable Given Lubinda to change his mind despite the so-called understanding, an act of treachery, in my view, no. He should throw himself in the race. What I would have preferred personally would be that we would have then gotten an acting president who was neutral, who was not vying for the presidency, and who would not be accused when he makes a presidential decision that he was using or abusing the powers of the president to deny a political opponent, any of us, from he was not disadvantaging us. Ideally for me, that's what I would have loved, so that the decision, the presidential powers that are inherently in the president of the PF, Honorable Given Lubinda, would escape the blame. He would have reverted to his position as vice president so that the field is even. So President Lungu said he's not coming back, he's retired, but he came back. Given Lubinda had agreed with with His Excellency the President that he will be a birth attendant. The two of them will birth a PF president. But circumstances and matters changed. And in the political terrain where we are in, I have come to learn that politicians, when they say yes, it may be a no. And when they say no, it may actually be a yes. It's difficult to read politicians. So, Mwebatwa Lubinda has acted treacherously. For me, I think I saw him in 2014. He aspired. Edgar Lungu was the one that was picked. He drew ranks and went back on the line and was appointed justice minister. He waited on the line. Yes, the agreement could have been there, but my strong view is that Honorable Given Lubinda should have allowed maybe one of our senior elders, Woinonge or Samuel Mukupa, or whoever was not seeking that office, maybe to be president of the PF. But the constitution is very clear. When the president dies, the vice president comes in. So those are moral issues. If he had made agreements with the late president, those are moral, personal decisions. So I think let us be fair on all sides, because Wamumbipiri says, I'm privy to some of these issues, and I should say, since it's a candid program. I've got my dear sister, Queen Pumi. She's here, my co-host who has disappeared. My dear sister, make your contributions.
Thank you, Ambassador. Our Tuaripama holidays, we are back to business, and a lot has been happening.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. Not much to say, just following what's happening in PF. And I have 3 points. Mainly, I think the UPND, they have lost this election. They have lost this election because if it work, which they deliver, ama promises there. So this election is actually the easiest election that can be won by the opposition. And so UPND, they are enjoying this disunity in opposition because they have nothing to offer the people. They have nothing to offer in their campaign messages. We saw what the president was saying a few days ago. I was laughing. I'm like, really? You want to bounce back in 2026, but you have nothing. The president was still talking about building boreholes. It's like, really, we are in 2026. We should be talking piped water to every household, to every village. So disunity, the UPND, they're enjoying it. So what I can advise about PF, we are all looking to you. We are all looking to you. I don't know how you can resolve this, but my advice is, Mwamba, this year, let's just have a panel of all the presidents and interview them. I think let's put away the past practice of inviting presidents individually. Let's invite them on a panel, maybe since they are 10 or how many, 9, we have 2 sets, and then we have to be transparent to this, to pick this PF president, because this is the national president. We are looking at picking somebody who is going to rule Zambia, win the election. That is the word I'm looking for. So let's not take this lightly by PF. We are counting on you. And I'm sorry to say, experience should not be a reason why we should, the main reason we should choose to pick a candidate. We have to pick somebody popular on the ground who can win the election. We can pick someone with experience, but in Gatakwete popularity, people don't want him. What have we done? So letting the people decide who is on the ballot on the PF ticket, whichever vehicle we use, will be key to winning this 2026 election. Otherwise, it will be all for nothing. And lastly, since we are looking for a national president, I have seen comments where people are saying the vice president must be from Northern or Eastern and vice versa. I am just like, okay, we are looking at a national president. We are looking at one Zambia. I think PF should be able to condemn this kind of talk, because we are people like myself who just stand on the truth and the progressiveness of the country, who want a better Zambia. We are not, we support somebody progressive, not because they are from Zambezi or they are from Eastern or Northern. So I think PF must come out and condemn this talk of saying this the vice president must be from Eastern or Northern. This will kill the party. You already heard what is coming from the other camp. By the way, myself, I am from the Zambezi, 100%, but I don't support the UPND because of the region. I would have supported them if I were a tribal person. But I am looking at what they have done, their lies and their failure to deliver. So I submit. Thank you so much, Bamwamba.
Queen Pumi has brought a very fundamental issue. I've always argued that present yourself as a leader and get elected as a leader. This issue of using age and tribe is detrimental sometimes. Dr. Kaunda was, when he went into politics, I think in 1953, he was 32. By the time he was becoming president, he was 30 actually, because 10 years later he became president. So he was actually 29 because he was 40 in 1964. He didn't say, I am young, therefore vote for me. I have seen Michael Sata, an old man at the age of 73, voted by, just a minute. I've seen Michael Sata in 2011 voted by young people. And the candidates, there were a lot of young candidates in that election, including Hakainde Hichilema in 2011. In 2011, how old? Because Hichilema is 63 years old now. But how old was Hichilema in 2011, which is almost 15 years ago? So Hichilema must have been 40, 48 or 49. But people voted for an old man. In Malawi, young people have voted for an 84-year-old man. Okay? Donald Trump is not young either. What does that tell you? When people who come to, our women candidates have not succeeded, yet the majority of the voters, over 53%, are women. So one factor may not sway a national election. You can't just come, I'm young. You can't come that I am Bemba or I am Tonga to win a national election. So I agree with Queen Pumi. It should be an advantage if you are young and the voters are young. But do you have a message for them? It should be good if you are a woman and the voters are 53%. But do you have a national message that will make you, both men and women, vote for you? So Queen Pumi, what you've raised is very fundamental there. A lot of people miss it. Hichilema himself in 2021, because he's 63, he must have been 58. The people that voted for him are young people, were 21-year-olds. And there was Harry Kalaba. Harry Kalaba was 40. But people didn't vote for Harry Kalaba, who was 40. They voted for a 58-year-old. And Edgar Lungu at the time was around 60-something. Is he 64? I think so. So age is good, but it's how you use it. Because sometimes voters, like in Malawi, they can vote for an 84-year-old man. So I agree with you, Queen Pumi. I hope Zambians, that's why we are condemning Hichilema. He's going to Southern Province and he's saying, vote for me because you are Southerners. If you don't vote for me, they'll come back and they'll beat you. Do you want to go back there? That is very dangerous message. Hello, caller. Sorry for waiting, but I thought I could emphasize that point. Yes, caller.
Yes.
Hello, caller. You are online now.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Allow me also to add voice to the voices that have spoken earlier. I think the issue of patriotic front is straightforward. Shouldn't be a thing that actually requires a rocket scientist to solve it. When you look at the challenge of patriotic front right now, in choosing a leader, of course, there have been a lot of external issues coming from the ruling government in the interference of the progress that has to be made in the patriotic front. But I think at the same time, you can never be a player and a referee at the same time. That actually disqualifies the rules of engagement. It makes it very unfair. And this is what I'm actually seeing with Honorable Given. He's a great guy. He's a great leader. I think he has done so much this far in, auditing. But again, at the same time, it's important as a politician, him being a politician that he is, and as said, to be one of those people that are experienced. I'm sure he's supposed to be what he's obtaining on the ground. On the ground, it's very clear. I can't actually run away from this fact that people already know people that they've chosen. Experience itself in politics may not deem one to be, a person that can actually lead the nation. I think a very good example is the kind of a president we have in Hakainde Chilema today. He was in opposition the longest. And see what he's done. He's messed up the country. So we are looking for leadership. And leadership is actually seen in, number one, the character of the person. That is what we should pay attention to as people. Who is this person? We need to say, I believe, Mwamba, you are in a very good position actually to help us as a country. You are the only mouthpiece that has actually been made, honestly, that, people can listen to. And this platform is so big such that you will help us as a country to choose a leader. And the sooner that happens, the better for all of us. I want you to heed to, the appeal that the other caller had made earlier on. Lead by example. Pull out of this race. Let others follow. Because all these people know themselves that they are not popular. They are one or two people that are popular amongst yourselves. And let us make progress. But as for Balubinda, I actually say, let Ramama Ilonge winner come through and chair PF at the moment. Let him step aside and allow the process of choosing a leader take place. As things stand, for me, he is the only stumbling block to the progress that has to be made. Truth be told, we can't run away from this fact. He is standing in the way because he's both a player and a referee. You can never have a match in that manner. I thank you, Ambassador.
No, on there I can correct you. There's what is called incumbency. You can be a president like Ichilema has incumbency. You will have advantage over others. But under the circumstances, I agree with you where, like I had said. Thank you, my brother. I've got two callers waiting. Let me start with this one. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. I'm calling from Zambia.
Yeah.
Just to cut the story short, Ambassador. Abaletu ebati na mufulisha. Tabale balole shapali democracy. Ambassador lo mwali 9. Apechale nga fema delay. Nechale ngo tutushite delay. I think apovu afati to apela kuliva acting president Balubinda. But twice amuna nomba na baba candidate. Nomba apa echo tulela ndapo kwa Balubinda veva slow. In a month. Echo tulefwa ni democracy ama isalile ba PF bakasale umuntu obale fwaya. If ama callers balela na yes na bakwata right. But once mwe bali pire twali proud for ba PF. Bakwa bati president asarwa na majority. Ichero shafe ba fazi ba Mwamba. Abale foku mina bu fazi president bali more than 5. What more abale foku baba Republican president. Nangu balazi president bala ba over 5. Nomba ifuati yoto wafula shante kufula. Echo tungalanda fecha kubati intungulushi. Ili kumulu, ili slow. Nombe slowness by UPND they got advantage. Batampa noko na ula PF. Echo tungalanda fecha kubati let this month be a final. Once haba alipila democratically bafule baba elected via a ballot. But abantu wabe netukese muna toba PF kwa salo muntu via a ballot. Not at yoba mbachite withdraw. How? Nangu mutu ili tulesala mu August. Ama candidates limbia bakemini na baka 10. So how can Zambians say abale fokumina bu president bafula ba mobachite withdraw? Democrats stay for yaba. So abale that ba PF ba mobachite po withdraw. They are not Democrats. If we should really monafinga ama members wa PF wa Mwamba. Kuwa slow kuntungulu shiri kumulu kuti itungulu lekube general election or other method either vicho kuti kwa vicho congress bonse kuti bachita mu participate kwa banu kusala January pita ama delay na slowness kuli ba acting president achila. If we need all of you mukachite mu participate, then let the people choose. not that you withdraw. If you are, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll be closing Mwantu Akwalesa. This has been a good topic. Hello, caller. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. Mama Machipa from Lusaka, Zambia.
My dear sister, make your
Ambassador
contributions.
Mwamba. Come again?
Make your contributions.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful that the past caller has just addressed what I was going to speak about, because for me, I feel Honorable Luwinda should be honorable enough, because he is equally an interested party contesting the presidency. He should declare his interest and compete like the others. And I feel he is hindering others because of his position in the party. You understand? PF needs, I don't feel PF, they need to love the country. In my view, I would disagree with the previous caller. We have too many candidates under one party. And because of this, it is actually delaying us to hold a convention, be it virtual or physical, because there are too many mangoes. And honestly, Ambassador Mwamba, time is of the essence. And time is not with us. This is what these people are not understanding. It is the time we are crying about. So PF should not be selfish, but be magnanimous enough to love this country and to come up with a leader who is going to stand against this beast. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. We should be closing now. Endita. Yol Tuabomba.
Nomba unfuemeni. You know, mu life we muntu ile fwe kwa principle. You know, Balubinda is an hypocrite.
Awe. We won't fear your mashiwi. We won't fear your mashiwi.
What could be the best way?
Yolanda, don't call people, don't label them, don't call them names.
Okay. Let me do like this. Because Baripa Monaba delayed. But the late no imwe mukababa vice president, mukababa chairman, whatever. You're supposed to tell the late that when I need for Quimina. That's why I'm preparing to put my 2,000 as a fee and a candidate giant. You know, let us go straight to the point. Facts. What if you about J.J. Bachland? Let's call it spade a spade. Because at that time, Balubinda, he was free to tell ECL that so I'm ready to put the money. So now, what is happening now? Bachita betrayed by ECL after ECL number opportunity, because there is no one who can so now at the end of the day, it's starting now destroying divide the rule. Gawamba mona sana ifi balinda na banani abakambwili. Mwalimu na atake abakambwili pali mundu bi. This the things these people are doing. Balubinda bali ya futi kulibameni. That time kwa futi ama problem. So it's playing to put divide the rule so that the bashali be na pachikuni. It's not like that. Lubindo was supposed to declare himself in front of ECL into Arinobumi at Inekwena na Ine Alaimini. That's a that a politician yes yakoni no yakoni yes. We don't want those type of politician abaso. A problem to quit. Umuntu alepunda kingabu bunga buka 50. They don't know money 400. We don't want to have that type of people. We want to live now what a principle life. Icho wala imina po walanda apa butatuti aine mune inanebo defo kwebini. I'm ready to participate. That's it. Isi ungarifa umutu ngari mupika na as a vice president. A contribution yet.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This caller has challenged, You have been crying for us to discuss a patriotic front. I said it was difficult because I'm an interested party. I'm a member of the Central Committee. I am an official spokesperson of the party, and I've had difficulties to discuss this subject. But today, I said we should discuss PF from the vantage point, for me, from EMV, where we led to the table the issue of PF. PF is so fundamental to the survival of the opposition. It will determine who becomes president, either itself as a vehicle or whoever it will render support. And the candidate of the PF will be so instrumental in the opposition, either as a lead candidate or as a supporter to whoever will be the candidate. The PF, unfortunately, we can't avoid discussing it. And it's in that light that I decided to speak. Yeah, hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Therefore, kwisala program na naka. No mwe banjolo moyambo kutuma. London poyama.
Na mushoba Mwamba kweno kana pita mumbali. Abatupe sana mu kipani cha PF. I think bakalamba beso abe number founder members. It's like kinabashira okusumina okwevati ababambi ama candidates bambi bali popopi okukirabena nomba just because ma founder members abalefoya ababambi okuti bashitako participate in FND mwana femwe nomba ekibipishe po kyakwewo okwevati even ama leaders aba notoka tomu PF ama elders abakwati bainonge wina bamukupa tabalefoya kwa kufurisha okwevati bapusha obo bwafyo kozi nga mwalimu na kisaiki abena mundu betawafu afya tubate minepa. And I don't think kutibafwanda ngo abambi abayisa fe abatu bemineko. So I think problem ife kuri ba president besu bene balubinda bachimba kambu na babachukulia efya. Aba yumfat ma founder members wa PF. I think they've destroyed our party. Okay, Mwamba, we know, thanks.
It looks like I might have to have a second run at this program. There are suggestions within the party that the presidential candidates should come to you, the people of Zambia, and just speak, I think, just briefly about themselves and their ideas and aspirations for the country. Although the party, as a manifesto, especially the one that was adopted in 2021, we also had an economic recovery plan. The party has a fundamental document that was well consulted, but the leaders bring to it stylish style. It brings a leader brings fresh insight and the perspective. So I might have to bring this because the phone is still buzzing, but it's been almost 4 hours. I would like to excuse myself. I think we've had a good program. Let me do other things, but continue the discussion in the comments. Let's see if we can have another discussion on the state of the PF on Sunday. God bless you, and we'll hear from you later.
That's why we must pray to God to keep HH alive for country, and that all those who are planning evil against him will not succeed. And as government, we are watching them every single day, their maneuvers.
The last question. Former State House is not telling us the truth. They must come clean on Mr. Sata's illness. I think something like that. That's what you say. Foreman, I don't want to say much on this. All I want to advise those who advise Mr. Sata is that if the president is not well, please tell the nation so that the nation can pray for him. Yes. Don't hide. If Akainde is unwell, please, my friends here, tell the nation that Akainde is not well. the nation will pray for us. I don't know why there's a thick cloud around this issue. To be sick is normal. It is God's way. So that's all I can advise the people that handle Mr. Sat. There's so much speculation that from London is just to hide. He's actually going to India. That's the speculation that is going to India for medical treatment.
Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaka intercity guseruka buyombo oserukira ate basi awakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi vimenye nivi ati tundumwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwe ati tundumwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende amubaome ku intercity sunu yakaba yamwe yakakuba mwalaliendela mbomu yanda intercity kunyina umuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe Zambia, so many things. Although we've done, there are many more things to be done. Tujiyagumbere kubereka. Not waktarigo, not waganka kuberego. We've just started working now. We've just started. There's a lot more work to be done. Nyambose Ulia, Kujasef, he needs more schools, more classrooms, more desks, more teachers. Work to be done. Mungandulia, he needs more bohos in Chama South. Kabusweoyu, he needs more.
V. We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV.
Yes, my